with Caroline Fenton, Willy Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
You are hands down my favorite radio personalities of all time.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
With no further ado,
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. We're live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Game Studios, and we are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live every single day. Our video streaming is brought to you by Superbook. Download their app today and use promo code THEGAME. Got the band back together today.
Absolutely.
Happy to be back
Full
with you guys. Full strength. I was filling in for Jared yesterday. He was traveling to Minnesota for the joint practices with the Titans and the Vikings. But happy to be back. How we doing?
I'm doing good. Voltron is back together. So, do you even know about Voltron?
I don't even know what Voltron
is. Willie, she doesn't even know about Voltron.
I don't know a whole lot about Voltron.
I love
it's
Voltron.
Not my strong
goodness.
suit.
I love Voltron. Voltron, the symbol. And then all these robots with a symbol. Like they're all like lions and all this stuff. They would assemble and make this huge, big, mega robot. It was the stuff.
Sometimes I feel like whenever you bring back blasts from the past, that maybe you're just messing with me.
No,
you're
seriously.
just gaslighting me.
No, Voltron
like, what do you mean you don't know who the Scoodly Bops are? They were huge in the 80s.
Well, we got those.
I don't know who the Scoodly Bops are. But Voltron is real. I'm going to pull it up.
Well, happy to be back today. And also, Willie, big day for you as well. Stars trivia tonight at Boombahs in East Nashville.
Yes, it's going to be fun. We have gotten a lot of teams that are going to come in, but we got plenty of room. If you want to come tonight at Boombahs East for trivia night, a lot of us are going to be there. You two will be in attendance. Got some Preds broadcasters that are going to be there tonight. The East Siders will be in full force, no question about it. And if you just want to come out and have some fun, look, you don't have to sign up ahead of time necessarily. You can make your call, get your team together. But I guarantee you, if you want to have a good night of fun, they'll have the games on. They have good food. You get $2 beers, great prizes. We went over the prizes yesterday. Cliff McCardle from our staff, I'm telling you, if you like any kind of music, there will be a concert at a venue that you will be fired up to go to if you win. So $20 per person. It goes to Stars, and we'll be raising money for a great cause, and it's going to be fun. So tonight at 7 at Boombahs East.
I'm surprised
near the 5 Points area.
Y'all ain't heard that song. Fair East Side. The movie.
Bringing out all the references today.
Morgan Freeman.
Oh, yeah.
Jump. If you want to jump, Sam's, jump. Jump, Sam's. Sam's
Stand
like, I
by
don't
me.
want to jump. I don't want to jump.
Lean on me.
Lean on me.
Lean on
I don't
me, yeah.
want to jump. I don't want to jump.
I saw that in the theater.
Yeah.
What's his name? Joe? His name is Joe something.
Joe Clark.
Joe
They
Clark.
Call me
Mr.
Batman.
Clark.
They call
Mr.
me
Clark.
Batman.
Yeah. He's got his style, Mr. Clark. He gets those guys straightened up.
It was a true story.
Yes, it was.
That I'm just now learning of today. But
Wow.
happy
You
to
just
be
learned
here.
about Voltron, which is on the thing. I pulled up Voltron for you.
Okay. Little purple
And then you
guys.
learned on Lean on Me.
I feel like a new woman today.
There you go.
Thanks to you, too.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm excited for trivia tonight. I'll be out there bringing a big group of my friends, so excited for that. Excited to
Good.
help out Stars Nashville. Also a very exciting day because it is joint practice day. And now, throughout all of my worrying and my, sleepless nights, worrying about the Tennessee Titans, Derek's voice has helped me through it where he says, just wait till the joint practices because that's when you're really going to start to see this offensive line get challenged by a different defensive line. That's when you're going to start to see a little bit more. It's not just your team going up against another team, and it's not just your second and third string. It's going to be your first team going up against their first team. So I said, okay, fine, I will wait. I will put my worrying on the back burner until the joint practices. And now, finally, we are here. Titans kicking off practice with the Minnesota Vikings today. So they'll have joint practice today, tomorrow, day off on Friday, and then the preseason game on Saturday night. But now that we are here, Vikings, Titans, preseason games, the number one thing that I am excited to look for is the offensive line. Because I think the offensive line, they had a fine day, a fine series in that preseason game against the Bears. But we've also kind of added a little bit of an asterisk to that of You're going up against a Bears defensive front that was ranked, I think, 30th in the league this past season, and they weren't even at full force. So I'm excited to see that offensive line get tested even further today and throughout the rest of the week in Minnesota.
Yeah, it's going to. This is what, I was sort of waiting on, because I knew the first preseason game, the starters were not going to play at all, at least the important starters, the quarterback, the running back, and some of the receivers. And then when you're going through camp, I mean, after the first week and a half, 2 weeks, it just becomes just like Groundhog's Day. And you get to know them, they get to know you as far as your own team. It's not like y'all. Harder to sort of gauge how well you're doing, because you're only practicing against yourself. It's when that's why they had a preseason games, and now that they've taken a preseason game away, more teams are electing to do these joint practices. We saw Baltimore and Washington have theirs, and plenty of other teams that have had theirs. And this is where, because this is where you're going to get as close to game simulation as you can. You can't even get game simulation when you're practicing against one another. You get close to it when you're practicing against another team. So this is what I was waiting for. How does the first team, because now the first teamers are going to play against their first team defense. How does your first team react to their first team defense? There's been some up and down with the Titans offense. Let's see how now they react. That's why I said, well, do we know if the defense is really that good or if the offense is really that bad? Well, we will find out this week.
Right, because we have plenty of excuses. And when I say excuses, I don't necessarily mean that they're bad excuses. But, in practice, it's, okay, well, the offensive line might just be fine. Like, the offensive line might be decent, but it's just going up against what we think is going to be a really good defensive line. It's not a bad excuse. It's just an excuse, or maybe something to look at in practice of, well, maybe the offensive line isn't as bad as we think. Or maybe, unfortunately, the glass half empty perspective of that is maybe the defensive line isn't as good as we think, and the offensive line is just that bad. So that kind of at least clarifies that couching that we've done throughout training camp of good offensive play, bad defensive play, and vice versa. So what else are we looking at? I'm looking at the offensive line. I'm excited to see this offensive line get tested against a unit that's a little bit more of an unknown. What else are we looking at this week?
Something else that Mike Vrabel said that he was looking forward to, one of the reasons that this was interesting to him was going up against Kirk Cousins. While we all think of Kirk Cousins as a guy that's not quite a great quarterback, he said that Kirk Cousins is a great guy to practice against because he's so good at processing and knowing where to go with the ball. He said it's a really good thing for your defense to go up against a guy like that. So I think the defensive backs will be in the limelight, especially with who he throws to. You've got Justin Jefferson, maybe the best receiver in football right now. Would you dispute that?
No,
Derek, he might be number one right now. And he's got a lot of other good weapons. The Vikings are an intriguing team, but I think it'll be a great test for the secondary. So that's one thing I'm looking for.
Yeah, it's going to be. I need to see this offense versus this defense, the Minnesota Vikings defense. This is not a good Vikings defense. They gave up over 25 points per game, I believe, last year, or close to it.
I didn't think I could name a single defensive player for the Vikings other than Danielle Hunter.
Exactly. This Vikings team, they were giving up close to 5 yards per rush. So this is not. They're not going against the 2000 Titans or Ravens defense. They're going against a defense that needs to get better. I think they changed defensive coordinators, I believe. So they see exactly what other teams see, that this defense wasn't good last year, and they need to make it better, especially with the type of offense they have. So I'm going to be looking at how this offensive line and those receivers and tight ends. I'm not worried about Ryan Tannehill. I'm just not.
Why not?
Because I think Ryan, he's sort of like Kirk Cousins. He's good at processing a lot of things. He's not a elite quarterback, but he's a really good quarterback. So I don't think there's things that the Minnesota Vikings are going to do defensively that is going to confuse Ryan Tannehill. I want to see if these guys on the outside can get open against a defense that's not good. I get to see a Treylon Burks, get to see, D-Hop in a role that is going to be more similar to the role he plays during the season. Are they going to line him up in the slot a lot? Are they going to put him outside? Because it's easy to put him outside when you're practicing against yourself. It's a little bit harder to put him outside if you're practicing against someone else. So I want to see whether they put him outside, put him inside. How do they do that 3-wide receiver rotation? Is it Phillips, D-Hop, and Treylon, or is it D-Hop, Treylon, and Chris Moore? So those are the things that I want to see. And then how does Tim Kelly, because in the game there was 3 wide, there was 2 tight end packages. I don't think they went a 2 running back package during the game, but they did a lot of, spreading them out, 3 wide receivers, 2 tight ends, screen plays. So I want to see how Tim Kelly sort of calls practice. Is it going to resemble more of a game type situation, or they're still trying to tinker with things within the offense?
Willie, are you worried about Ryan Tannehill?
I think this would be good for him. It looks pretty clear that they don't want to play him in the actual game, so I think this is where you get good work in. This is probably an important time to try to build that role definition as much as you can with guys in new slots, with Hopkins in there, trying to expand the role of Okonkwo, trying to expand the role of Burks. This is probably a pretty critical time for that. I'm not worried about Tannehill at all. I don't think we're going to see – we discussed this yesterday. We had a little bit of a fantasy wrinkle to it. One of the things that makes Tannehill effective is his ability to run. And I still think in this, even though it's a little closer to live situation, you're probably not going to see truly if he's going to be able to be as effective running the ball when he needs to, as you will in the regular season. But to me, that's a big part of it. But I think he's the least of my worries right now. I think it's a lot more about role definition of his receivers, offensive line, in terms of the offense.
I am worried. I think I'm just more so worried about the first-team offense and in a trickle-down effect that impacts the quarterback. I'm worried about the offensive line. That directly affects Ryan Tannehill. I'm interested, maybe not necessarily worried is the correct word. I'm intrigued with this receiving core, and that directly affects Ryan Tannehill. So I am worried about Ryan Tannehill. We have seen a couple practices as of late where he was turning the football over. He had a bad interception before this last preseason game. But that's what I want to get into coming up next is how much have the Titans already decided what they want to do against the Vikings in the preseason game on Saturday? And how much will, if at all, this week in practice affect that game plan? We'll get into that coming up next. How does that affect Ryan Tannehill? Caroline, Willy, D-Mase is brought to you by Zen Sports. Start earning cash rewards on your bets today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and in Tennessee to bet. 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
All the big plays.
Rebound, fly out in front, and Saros covers it up.
All the big stories.
Andrew Burnett reportedly hired as the next head coach of the Predators.
All in one place. We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
Checkered flag is in the air.
Comparing goalies to running backs.
46-27 Vanderbilt.
Does this group of players need one? The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Okay, let's tell you once again about Loan Pronto. The fall could be the time. You might have had the dream of your home improvement project. Just think about those Saturdays and Sundays where you want to be watching your favorite football team, your favorite soccer team. Fall baseball, the Braves are in the World Series. You love to have that outdoor patio. You've got the grill going, you've got the guests there, and you're watching the big games in October. Well, you might need some funds to go to that, and you're wondering, okay, how do I do that? This is what I want to do. My home is very valuable. I want to add to it. Well, Loan Pronto is doing that for people with the home equity line of credit, and it's Express. it happens fast. It used to take a lot longer to do this. Now, in as little as 5 days, you can have that check for thousands of dollars to go towards that home improvement project to make your home even more valuable, and you don't have to work that primary mortgage. So if that 3% rate is good for you, which it should be, don't mess with that. You can tap into 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. All you got to do is call Loan Pronto and get the details, and you can get this plan in motion. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
33 hours of savings this Thursday, Friday, Saturday at Electronic Express. These deals are so hot they only last 33 hours. Get a TCL 55-inch 4K TV only $269, or an Avanti laundry pair just $379 each. Save up to 50% on 4K TVs, computers, Bluetooth speakers, appliances, and more. Don't miss out on an Avanti top freezer refrigerator only $499, or a Lenovo laptop for only $349. 33 hours of savings this Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willy Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards, or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Mom, we're out of potato chips.
Teenagers, they'll eat you out of house and home, kind of like health insurance, which can take a big bite out of the family budget. Fortunately, with Farm Bureau Health Plan's Core Choice coverage, we can save $3,600 a year compared to the leading competitor. And we've got better coverage with a lower premium, lower deductible, free telehealth visits, and access to one of the largest networks available.
Can we order pizza?
Visit FBHP.com or your local Farm Bureau office today.
Genesis Diamond's most extreme value on diamonds is coming to an end. You have until Sunday at 5 p.m. to get the price of a lifetime on a certified GIA diamond ring.
Response has been incredible. People have driven for hours to buy like a dealer buys. All GIA certified diamond rings are on sale. A full 20% discount off Genesis' amazing everyday value price.
We're talking values you never thought possible. From a half carat to 20 carat diamonds, all hand-picked for maximum brilliance and all graded by the most prestigious gem lab in the world.
Don't be surprised to see jewelry store owners and diamond dealers shopping alongside you.
Genesis has the largest GIA diamond selection you've ever seen. Rounds, ovals, radiance, cushion cuts, pear shapes, emerald cuts, princess cuts.
And now through Sunday, you can take advantage of this rare buying opportunity. Limit one per customer, please.
Get the Genesis no middleman direct importer price minus an extra 20% on all GIA diamond engagement rings. Now through Sunday only at Genesis Diamonds.
Green Hills and Cool Springs.
See store for details.
Anyone want to tell me what happened?
Did you miss any of today's show?
It's okay. It's fine. Don't worry.
Subscribe to the Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase podcast on Apple, Spotify, and other podcast platforms, or by going to thegamenashville.com.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
Having some fun in the midday.
Yeah, that's awesome.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Early in camp to be that concerned about the pass protection, some of the struggles they had early on.
I mean, yeah, we're 5 days in, or 5 or 6 practices in, so a lot of work still to be done. I don't think in any aspect of our team is where it should be or where we want it to be. We're going to keep foot on the gas and keep going. I think there's a lot of training camp left and a lot of practices we have left, a lot of time in the meeting room we have left. So got to take advantage of every day, keep the foot on the gas, and keep improving.
That was Ryan Tannehill at the podium a few weeks ago. Hey, your favorite game, Silly Underdog Picks, is back. Sign up today at thegamenashville.com or the 102.5 The Game app. Silly Underdog Picks is presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket. So the Titans going out in the practice field in Minnesota, first joint practice of the season. And so much of what we've been talking about throughout training camp over the last couple of weeks has been couched with, okay, but wait till the preseason games, wait until the joint practices, because that's when you're going to see your first team against another first team. When you'll start to get answers to the questions of, okay, well, is the offense not very good, or is the defense just that good that they can make any offense look silly? We'll start to get answers to those questions whenever Ryan Tannehill and this offensive line is going up against the Minnesota defense. But I asked you both this question before the break. Are you worried about Ryan Tannehill? And not worried about Ryan Tannehill and the fact that, are we worried about him being able to run this offense? Because I'm not too worried about Ryan Tannehill being able to do that. But in Jim Wyatt's most recent mailbag on TennesseeTitans.com, he mentions that he doesn't expect to see many of the starters on Saturday. But I almost think that this week should dictate how many of the starters you see on Saturday. Because if Ryan Tannehill goes out there against the Minnesota defense and has a fantastic couple of practices, then fine. I don't need to see him on Saturday. We're good. But if Ryan Tannehill goes out there, the offensive line doesn't look very good, Ryan Tannehill's turning the football over, he's throwing interceptions, then I think I'd probably like to see Ryan Tannehill on Saturday. I'd like to see him get those game reps. I'd like him to start to get even more in-game experience with this line, with these receivers, within this offense. So I don't want the Titans to have a game plan for what they're doing on Saturday. I want the Titans to let the Titans dictate what they do on Saturday based off of what we see this week.
Yeah, I believe if they do, within the next 3 days, because they'll practice today and Thursday, they won't do anything Friday, I'm sure, because Saturday's the game. I'm sure if they have good practices Thursday and today and tomorrow, that may dictate what Vrabel does as a head coach as far as who's going to play, who's not. If they struggle, I do fully anticipate, the first unit, at least the offensive line, and even possibly some of the receivers minus D-Hop, because they're in this weird. I think a lot of teams get in this weird space now that there's only 3 preseason games as opposed to 4, and then they're doing this because you don't want to show too much to the team that you're practicing against. And then 2, you still don't want to go out there and get your guys injured. You feel if you can get them through the 2 days, today and tomorrow, then Saturday, some coaches, they don't want to play their starters. Some coaches say, hey, listen, we've seen enough during the 2 days. We know where we're at. We've evaluated ourselves. Some coaches are fine with it. And some coaches are not, but they still don't want to risk sending their starters out there and getting hurt.
But do you want to risk your starters not being ready for week 1?
I think they
That's an even bigger risk,
I think they could deal with that. I think they believe that they still have enough time, regardless of what happens practicing this week and then the game Saturday. They believe they still have time to get everything together. It's not a rush. It's not like a week before the season we're trying to figure out, oh, my goodness, do we have an offense? Do we have an offensive line that can hold up the whole season? They still have over a month to figure this thing out. So if they do bad, I almost expect them not to throw their guys out there. And if they do good, then that's just an excuse to say, hey, listen, we've seen all we needed to see. We don't need to put them out there. We're good.
Mike Vrabel doesn't strike me as a guy that will change his plan based on what he sees in a practice or 2 here. I'm curious if the offensive line will get some reps again on Saturday, more so than Tannehill. Tannehill and Henry, to me, and Hopkins, to me, would be in a category aside from some of the other starters. I do think the offensive line, there's an argument to be made. The more they play together, the better. Keep them going. Use Saturday to your advantage with that. That would be my thought. But I don't think Mike Vrabel is going to say, well, Tannehill didn't look good. They didn't look sharp, so I need to play him on Saturday. I don't think he'll change. Whatever he has decided going into this, I think is what he'll stick with. I have seen rarely teams sort of change on the fly, but I wouldn't think Mike Vrabel would go that way.
But can you see this possibly happen? Because we also got to look at, Willis and Levis. How are they looking in these joint practices and then entering the game? Because my thought is, okay, you allow Willis, he earned the play to be the starter the first preseason game. I wonder if, as a coaching staff, you're thinking, okay, now we're going to give Will Levis an opportunity. Regardless of what happens in practice, we're going to give Will Levis an opportunity to start and play with that first unit. It makes me believe that regardless of what happens, Tannehill's not playing, Henry's not playing, and D-Hop's not playing. I would be surprised if Traylon and Chig was playing.
I would be surprised, too. I just don't necessarily agree with it.
Yeah, I don't agree, but I think they are to a point now where they have no depth. So if anybody get injured, what do you do then? So it's almost the roster behind the starters have paralyzed you where you can't do much. Like, even if you wanted to play your starters, a quarter or two or a quarter.
And I don't even need to see him for a quarter.
But you're almost, in a sense, paralyzed because what if one of those guys get hurt? I know they can get hurt in practice. I get all that. But what if one of those guys get hurt?
Can't play football scared?
Now you can play cautious right now. Every team play cautious in regards to who I'm going to put out there and who I won't. You can play cautious. Not that I'm scared. I'm being smart as a head coach and a GM. Nope, we're not putting those guys out there. It elevates it even more when you don't have the depth. So I'm not going to throw my first line guys out there when my depth is not proven.
I'm just saying you don't need to. In my opinion, I don't think you need to make up that decision right now. In my opinion, I would go into this week in Minnesota and say, you tell me what I should do on Saturday. I'll let what we see in practices dictate who's playing on Saturday. I think it's very similar to what we saw from the first-team offensive line against the Bears. I don't know if the plan all along was you're going to play one series no matter what. If they went 3 and out in that first series, I do believe we probably would have seen a little bit more from the first-team offensive line. But since they went out there and the first series was 12 plays, I believe, that's a solid enough sample size. They did their job. All right, good job. Take your helmets off. You're on the sideline. Good job. Didn't give up a sack there. So that kind of their play and the way the game was going, I believe, dictated how many series the starting offensive line played. I'm saying that's all I would want this team to do with the joint practices in Minnesota. If all goes well, first team offense is cooking, then great. You earned the right to be on the sidelines on Saturday.
I'm
If
also
not,
curious.
then you didn't.
I'm also curious, do we see Will Levis get a chance with the first line, for example? Like, I don't know how they want to do the quarterback shuffle on Saturday. Are they going to do the alternating, or do they try to do something a little bit different this time to get a different look from the two guys? Let's take last year, for example. They made the decision. Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, those guys weren't playing. They were not going to play regardless. So I'm guessing their philosophy is the same. It looks the same. And there was a ton of focus on Malik Willis last year. They basically let him play the whole time. They didn't even give Logan Woodside a chance to play a whole lot when you got down to it.
No.
By the way, Logan Woodside is the backup for the Falcons, for what that's worth. So he's still in the league, right? It's not like you do wonder what if they had decided to go a different route with Woodside and Willis. But they threw Willis in there. A huge focus of the preseason was letting him get in there, get his feet wet, and play a lot. So I think that looks like the same way they're going this year. There is a lot of focus on let's get these two quarterbacks up to speed, let's let them compete, and let's develop these guys while we have a chance. The rest of it seems very secondary to me. Getting the things that we think about a lot, getting the offensive line ready, getting the first-team offense ready. They don't seem to be looking at these games as the way to do that.
I agree, but I disagree with that mindset. But let's hear what Mike Vrabel has to say about it. He is up at the podium now in Minnesota.
I mean, I think we've been getting a lot of really good work in against ourselves, and I think that that's probably, this is a good time to end that and start this process here the next 2 weeks. And, again, we've talked about the different skill sets of players in this league, different schemes that we'll have to face throughout the season. And now, instead of having, ourselves the game plan against or understand and maybe having a little bit more time, now we just have 2 practices and then a game. So this is going to be some hands-on experience, I think, just learning, different guys' route crafts, releases, different players at the line of scrimmage. So that can help us and just say, okay, let's make some corrections, or what do we need to adjust on going into tomorrow and then the game. Well, I mean, I think you want to have some exposure, but maybe not a whole lot other than just some personnel or some looks, whether that's different fronts that we may see. We'd like to have the players as prepared as possible, but also understanding that, we didn't have a whole lot of time after Chicago, but we tried to give them a little bit. And then, what has to happen is they have to go out there and use their roles and communicate. And, we've talked about how critical the 11 guys on the field are, communicating and making sure that they're on the same page. Well, I'm sure that they did. I mean, we've got a game tape from, didn't play last week, and I mean, again, they're pros. They'll come out here and practice and hopefully, compete and challenge and go from there. Well, you're going to see a lot of them move the ball and having some unscripted periods that, allow Tim and Shane and, who's calling it on their side to be able to adjust to what they're seeing and going from first to second and second to third. And, then just work the end of the game operation today, and we'll do that. And then tomorrow work in the red zone. So those are, normally what we've done, throughout these processes. Well, I think it matters every day, whether we're in Minnesota, whether we're in Tennessee, whether we're in Illinois. Every day is part of the process, and see what they, can improve on and where they make adjustments and, how they handle certain situations. All I heard was Kevin O'Connell in my impression, so you got a big fan right there, just maybe a little louder. I'm not sure what you asked me. I apologize. Well, I mean, how he's done so far. I mean, a lot of success here last year. So the impression, I think just, it's like him and Cliff came in. At some point in time, I couldn't tell those apart. It was like he came in and replaced Cliff Kingsbury, and conscientious, obviously, smart player. Picked everything up really well, and just happy for his success and the teammates that I've had that have gone on to success in coaching or broadcasting or anything off the field that they're doing. And Kevin's another example of that. Well, I can promise you that having not watched practice and having no idea that there's going to be some things that are good, there's going to be some things that are bad, and there's going to be some things that will get us beat that we'll have to eliminate. Every day we go out there and practice, there's those things, and I'll do it the same way I always do it. We'll have a meeting. We'll try to continue to stockpile all the good things. We'll have to fix the bad things and then eliminate the things that get us beat. And we'll look at the effort. We'll ask players to, show us their effort and ones that they thought were up to our standard and the ones that aren't up to our standard. I'm sure that if we think it'll give us the best chance to convert in short yardage situations, then we'll entertain the idea. As far as stopping it, I'm sure we'll have other ideas. These are things that are hard to practice, just in training camp, you're talking about goal line and short yardage and, making sure that we're doing everything to, protect the players and stay up. But, it's an effective play. It's a creative play. And, one that the injuries would tell you that there weren't injuries that were occurring on the play. So, everybody has a choice. Everybody pays their quarterback a certain amount of money, and you can decide to run quarterback sneaks or not. Again, we'll see what gives us the best chance to convert. We've handed it off to Derek. We've thrown it, and we've quarterback sneaked it. So we've been okay on 3rd and 1. Would like to always be better. Taking the day off, Gentry? Sure, let's go, Gentry. Well, I don't want to say that I can't remember, Gentry, what those reasons were in Tampa. I really can't. But we've tried to, again, be intentional with how we've structured practice, and getting some guys out there for half a practice, and something that we've done in the past with veteran players, and whether they need individual periods and things like that, or maybe the most important thing is some team periods. So we kind of structure the practice accordingly. So sometimes maybe guys can come out at different places, but everybody has a plan each and every day. I don't know what it was like 2 years ago, but hopefully we'll have guys that are available, and that may change from today and going in tomorrow. We'll see what that looks like after we practice today. No, this is gonna be it. I'm gonna be the guy.
I mean, we couldn't have gotten microphones? Like, Kirk Cousins couldn't have donated a little bit of his quarterback Netflix money?
Exactly. Like, come
Some
on.
microphones for the reporters? My goodness. Well, let's react to what Mike Vrabel had to say there coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Here we go, in and out of the huddle.
Training camp is underway in the Music City.
We want to try to make sure that we're developing a team.
And we have you covered.
Could Peter Skoronsky be an option at tackle?
How quickly can DeAndre Hopkins get going?
We'll be broadcasting live from training camp with the latest news and storylines from practice.
Ryan Tannehill, in the last year of a contract, it's a different team, it's a different roster.
Training camp coverage is brought to you by the Simmons Bank Open, Caudill Vet Clinic, and Parman Energy on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Caroline Fenton here for our friends over at Superbook Sports. Football season is right around the corner, and now is the time to place your preseason bets with Superbook in Tennessee. Superbook is the most trusted name in Vegas, and now you can use promo code Caroline, my name, Caroline, to score up to $250 with their first bet bonus. Win or lose, they will match your first bet up to $250 with promo code Caroline. Will Tennessee win the division this year? Who is your pick for MVP, and which team will win it all in February? Don't sit on the sidelines. Win money this season with Superbook Sports. Simply download the Superbook Tennessee app or visit superbook.com to place your wager today. Football, a $250 first bet bonus, and the Caroline promo code will make you do your own touchdown dance this season with Superbook Sports. So visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Let's see. That one. Wait, I didn't see this one.
We apologize. When you have as many microbrews on tap as we do, we know it can be hard to make a decision. Don't worry. We're patient.
Wow. Let me see here.
Bar lines at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Incredible apps and salads, delectable burgers and wraps featuring local Tennessee whiskey and local brews on tap and live music 7 days a week. The decision is obvious. Bar lines at the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Join ESPN 1025 The Game, Brentwood Fire and Police, the Williamson County Sheriff's Office, and Nolensville Fire and Rescue for the 10th annual Williamson County Battle of the Badges Blood Drive, Wednesday, August 16th from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Brentwood Library on Concord Road, sponsored by B.L. Harbert International.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Hey Jen, sorry I'm late. I had to stop for gas.
Yeah, I can't believe how much it costs for gas now.
I know, everyone's still talking about how much gas is, but I never pay full price. I just use the free Upside app, and I get cash back for every gallon of gas I buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid real cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yeah, I earn back up to 25 cents a gallon every time I buy gas.
What? That sounds like it could really add up.
It sure does. I've made over $300 already.
Wow, that's serious extra money. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code CAR3 for an extra 25 cents per gallon cash back in your first fill-up. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code CAR3 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus in your first tank. That's code CAR3 for 25 cents per gallon cash back in your first fill-up. Cashback's not available in gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. Man, I need to tell you something, so you need to listen up. And it's about Cool Springs MD. Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances. Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and his wife Daphne, along with that wonderful and experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life. Cool Springs MD services have already helped many men of Brentwood, Nashville, including myself, and the surrounding areas in Tennessee with improving their immune systems, energy levels, cognitive functions, and more. They are there to connect you with the medical care you require to have a healthy and enriched life. So there's no better time now to achieve a healthy lifestyle. Men, what are you waiting for? Give Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment. Here's the number, 615-486-3458. That's 615-486-3458. Or visit our website at coolspringsmd.com.
The team at Mercedes-Benz of Music City have done it again. Here's Edwin Vickery to explain.
4-time recipient of Best of the Best. Less than 10% of the dealers in the country receive this award. How did you do it? We say culture, eat strategy for lunch, because we can strategize all we want, but unless you have the right culture and chemistry in the dealership, it will not work.
Live the dream at Mercedes-Benz of Music City, mbofmc.com.
Real estate investors, get ready for an incredible opportunity. D&M Development is thrilled to announce the Phase 1 presale of 16 non-owner occupied short-term rentals in Nashville's exclusive resort-style community, the New Cumberland. Nestled between Germantown and East Nashville, this exceptional location offers stunning views of the city and the Cumberland River. Each unit features spacious kitchens, 4 bedrooms, and 4 baths, providing the ultimate luxury experience for your guests. Resort-style pools and a wide range of amenities. Don't miss out on this exclusive investment chance. Visit thenewcumberland.com for more information and secure your spot in this extraordinary community.
Hey, it's Jared for PhD Weight Loss. I love the PhD Weight Loss program, and I've already blown past the 20-pound mark this summer, and I've done it all while enjoying the things that we normally enjoy during the summer, like traveling and vacations. In fact, I feel like it's made training camp even easier for me. I love the PhD program because it's simple to understand and activate, and quite frankly, because it works. I feel so much better about myself because I feel in control of my weight, and I get excited when I continue to see my progress. If you are someone who has struggled to lose weight, go online to myphdweightloss.com and check it out for yourself. Learn about the program, the coaching, and, of course, the guarantee. If you don't get within 5 pounds of your target weight by the end of the program, PhD will continue to coach you for free until you do. That's PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition, the official partner of the Clemson Tigers organization and fans, online at myphdweightloss.com.
Nashville's radio version of The Odd Couple.
You would trade for the third pick? Yeah, I don't know that I would do that.
Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexrode are Robbie and Rexrode.
I'm here for the discussion. I'm not. It's a good one.
It's absurd. Robbie and Rexrode. Mornings from 6 to 9.
Win the games. When they get in the playoff, they'll have a chance to.
Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
I'm sure that if we think it'll give us the best chance to convert in short yardage situations, then we'll entertain the idea. As far as stopping it, I'm sure we'll have other ideas. These are things that are hard to practice. Just in training camp, you're talking about goal line and short yardage and, making sure that we're doing everything to, protect the players and stay up. But, it's an effective play. It's a creative play. And, one that the injuries would tell you that there weren't injuries that were occurring on the play. So, everybody has a choice. Everybody pays their quarterback a certain amount of money, and you can decide to run quarterback sneaks or not.
There are those Mike Vrabel at the podium in Minnesota. Day one of Titans and Vikings joint practices. Hey, tune in for Nashville Sounds Baseball today at 6:35 p.m. on 94.9 The Fan. The Sounds take on the Charlotte Knights, AAA affiliate of the Chicago White Sox. Sounds Baseball on 94.9 The Fan, presented by 312 Pizza Company, Farm Bureau Health Plans, and Family Leisure. Jonathan Hutton, Hot Mike with Hutton and Withrow, will join us in 15 minutes. But I thought it was interesting there. Mike Vrabel mentioned we're going to be working on end-of-game situations, which, of course, is going to be in your practice repertoire. No matter what, you're going to be going through red zone. You're going to be going through 2-minute. You're going to be going through end-of-game situations. But that's something that we have emphasized. When I was on yesterday on Jared's show, I was talking to Trevor Maddich. When you guys were talking to Tim Hasselbeck yesterday, that's what those two were disappointed in, was Will Levis's end-of-game management.
Yeah, so those are things that Vrabel wants to work on, and I think he wants to work on it with all the quarterbacks. Here's the part that I think is going to make it sort of interesting in regards to the offense. Which one of these quarterbacks are they going to play in the preseason game? Which one of these quarterbacks is going to get the most snaps?
Who do you think should?
Who do I think should? I think it's fair to allow Levis to play with the first team front line at least, because Malik Willis was able to play with them last week. I think Levis should be given an opportunity to play with that first unit. Now, if he wants to play the first offensive line more than one series, then I don't care who starts. Because they're both going to get an opportunity to play with the first team offensive line. But if he only plans on playing the offensive line a series again, maybe two, then I think Levis needs to be the quarterback that is starting, just so he can get an opportunity to play against that first team, play with that first team offensive line, so I can get a better evaluation of both guys playing on the same on the same level playing field. As far as, the guys they're going to be playing with. It's unfair, if you throw Levis back out there, and he's playing with the second team offensive line. That's not fair. Mm-hmm. Even regardless if he plays well or not, you need to give him the same opportunity. And vice versa. I would say that about Willis. If Willis didn't start the first game, you have to get a true evaluation of both guys, I believe. You got to give them the opportunity to play in the same situation that the other guy is playing in, meaning the same offensive line.
I think it's going to be something to watch for. If we presume that Tannehill is not going to play on Saturday, then how many reps do you give Tannehill as opposed to the other two guys? Because you got three guys you're really looking at. Most of the time, most years, there's really your starter, the backup gets a few, and then the third guy just gets whatever the leftovers are in these practices.
Throw them in the third or fourth quarter, hope for the best.
Especially when you get into what D-Mase is saying, and I'd like to see X quarterback with the top guys some.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you do that with 3 guys? That's pretty tough.
Mm-hmm.
So I would think that you use these practices. The priority is Tannehill in the practices if he's not going to play Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you're going to play the starters, at least the starting offensive line, then Saturday is the day you really focus on the 2 younger quarterbacks. That's how I would do it, but I'm curious to how they break up the reps because it is difficult to get 3 guys the amount of reps you want to get them.
I would agree that the priority is Tannehill, and I would agree that if I had to guess what the Titans are going to do, not what I want, with Burks, with Chig, with DeAndre Hopkins, and then come Saturday, that's when the backup quarterbacks battle, round 2, ding, ding, kind of kicks off on Saturday. But I will repeat and reiterate what I think that they should do is to not have a plan for what's going to happen on Saturday, is to let it play out throughout the week. Because if Tannehill is going to be your priority, which it should be your priority, your first team offense should absolutely be your priority even over a backup quarterback competition. You let this week dictate what Saturday is going to do, what you're going to do on Saturday. But I think that they're going to prioritize Tannehill with the first team against the first team defense, and then Saturday's the backup quarterbacks. And I agree with you, D-Mase, that they should start Will Levis on Saturday if they are not going to start Tannehill.
Yeah, it's just, again, because how teams view the preseason now, because there's one less preseason, it's you can't sort of look at past history on what teams used to do, because what they used to do was play you a couple of plays the first game, play you 2 series the second game, third game you play up until halftime, and then we don't see you no more until the season starts. Well, because of this new collective bargaining, guys are getting more money. Certain positions, you can't risk it. You're starting to see more teams opt not to play their starters, some for the whole preseason. Some, they elect to not plan for 2 games and end up playing them either the first game or the middle game and maybe not, 2 others. So I guess it just depends on, what this team is trying to accomplish. Are they looking for depth? Are they trying to solidify their depth while figuring out the offensive line? Because I truly believe that's what I think they realize who our starters are going to be for the season when you're talking skill position, running back, receiver, quarterback. They know that. And they know potentially who their backup is. But that offensive line and their backups, that's what they're trying to figure out. And then the backup quarterback. So to me, if they have a good practice, the first team offense, if they have a good practice, I think Vrabel will see enough in these 2 days to say, you know what? I don't need to play my starters. I don't need to play my quarterback. I don't need to play my 2 receivers. I am going to now play the offensive line. And I think I want to believe they've already determined who's going to start this preseason game. I think they want to make it fair. I think they want to give Will Levis an opportunity to play with that starting unit, and that's the way they're going to go. I don't think Ryan Tannehill will see the field this second preseason game because they believe that he will get enough work in these 2 joint practices.
Do you think they'll alternate him again?
Oh, man. I think they will because I think they are getting these guys used to what's going to happen in a game. You may have to come in, like we talked about yesterday. You may have to come in, and Ryan Tannehill may lose his shoe or his shoelace bust. I don't know, breaks, and he has to run to the sideline. So, second string quarterback, you better take a few snaps and come on in. Mm-hmm. That's how he wants to simulate sort of a real-time situation. So I think they will continue to go with the 1 series on, 1 series off. Now, the last preseason game may be different. That one may be a situation where, whoever starts ends up playing a considerable amount of time, and then the next guy comes in.
I didn't hate what they did on Saturday.
No, I didn't hate it.
In the beginning of the game, I thought, what are we doing here, Mike? What in the world? throughout the rest of the game, I kind of started to grow on me. And then once Vrabel explained why they did that, hey, when you're a backup quarterback, you're going to have to come in at a moment's notice and you might be cold. So I think I'm glad that they're kind of simulating that. I wouldn't hate them switching it up this week because we've done that. That was your first experiment. That was your first test. Now can you tackle an entire quarter? I'd like to see that. I'd like to see how they're able to command an entire quarter, and then you still kind of get that feeling of having to come in cold if they alternate quarters. Let's say it's Levis first quarter, Willis second quarter, vice versa.
And it does affect who you're playing with and who you're playing against, because the other team isn't alternating units, right? So whoever's playing, if you do it that way, whoever's playing the fourth quarter, you're going to be playing against the scramblers, and that can create a pretty chaotic situation for sure. So that may not be the same thing evaluating. So I did like the alternating for a while. I'm curious to see what they do with it.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. Jonathan Hutton, Hot Mike with Hutton and Withrow, will join us coming up next. We'll get his thoughts on the Titans' first preseason game, what he thinks the team should do in joint practices with the Vikings. Jonathan Hutton coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 1025, 1063 The Game.
Every day we are live and local.
It will help them get better players. I'm really excited about this defensive front.
And your source for Nashville sports.
They had missed the playoffs.
Those players may end up being practice squad guys.
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Willie Donick here for Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. The official brand perception report for doors and windows is in. Pella Windows and Doors are the leading brand among all others. A few reasons why. Pella is regarded as the highest quality, the most innovative, and the installers with Pella of Nashville lead the way for attention to detail. That's why Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville is one of Pella's top locations in the country. For new doors or windows, I suggest you choose the experts at Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. Go to PellaNashville.com.
Calling all Nashville Sounds baseball fans. You know the 312 Pizza Company in Germantown is the best place to be before or after a Sounds game, but this season, it gets even better. Stop by 312 Pizza Company before or after any Nashville Sounds home game with your day of ticket and get a free old-style beer. That's right, you get a free old-style beer from 312 Pizza just for watching Sounds baseball, only redeemable with purchase. See you at 312 Pizza Company all baseball season long. 312 Pizza Company, a proud sponsor of your Nashville Sounds.
For the love of the climb, for the love of the fall, for the love of knowing your kids' laughter is the sweetest music there is, for the love of Tennessee. Travel safe. Brought to you by the Tennessee Department of Tourist Development, the Tennessee Association of Broadcasters, and this station.
In any work environment, culture is the most important thing. And what makes up the culture? The people. Hey, this is General Manager Sean Ford with Cromwell Media. This month, we want to highlight two individuals on our team celebrating their anniversary. First, Max Hers is celebrating over 5 years with us on 102.5 The Game. And our president and owner, Bud Walters, is celebrating his 51st year with Cromwell Media. Thanks to you for the community you've built here. If you're looking for a new career, reach out to us at together@cromwellmedia.com. Love what you do, love where you work.
Hey, it's Jared. If you're listening to us on I-24 towards Murfreesboro or I-65 towards Spring Hill, make sure you check out 106.3 for another great way to hear Nashville's best sports talk.
Now, your Game Center update.
This is Nick Frazier with your Game Center update. Former NFL offensive lineman Michael Orr has filed a lawsuit against the Toohey family. The Toohey family is accused of taking all proceeds from the blockbuster film about Orr's life, The Blind Side.
Going back to when the movie was made, Michael Orr always suspected that somebody was making money, and and the family was making money on the film. But whenever he asked about it, he was deflected. He was told, talk to this person or talk to that person. And moreover, more to the point, he was beginning his NFL career once the movie hit.
Tune in tonight to 94.9 The Fan as the Nashville Sounds are back in action, taking on the Charlotte Knights, the AAA affiliate of the Chicago White Sox. You're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUZ HD2 Laverne. Broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers. 102.5 and 106.3.
And a score!
You can run different offenses.
The doors on the board. Off the field, on the field.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Covering your teams and the news of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase.
Who is pleasant to listen to.
With Caroline Fenton, Willy Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
You are hands down my favorite radio personalities of all time.
On 102.5 and 106.3, The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
With no further ado.
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3, The Game, and the Game Nashville app. We're live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Game Studios, and we are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live every single day. Our video streaming is brought to you by Superbook. Download their app today and use promo code THEGAME. Joining us now is Jonathan Hutton, Hot Mic with Hutton and Withrow. One thing that I wanted to ask Hutton as we're getting him onto the Zoom, who he thought was the best quarterback on Saturday. Something I asked Trevor. I know Tim talked about that with you guys yesterday, Tim Hasselbeck. I want to hear Hutton's perspective, to hear if it's any different than either ours or our experts' opinions that we talked to yesterday.
Yeah, I would love to see. I'd love to hear what Hut has to say. I listened to the segment with Trevor Maddich and what he had to say, and you guys, you and Adam replayed it, I believe. So, you know, everybody's going to have their various opinions on who did well, who didn't, or who should play this game. Me, frankly, I think both guys were okay. They weren't great. They were not horrible either. So
both did good things, both did bad things.
Exactly. Got things to build on. You know, so that's the way I look at it.
I think in a couple of days we're going to have a lot more to talk about. I think, as is naturally the case every year, we're just starved for stuff to talk about in a game, and so we're probably taking too much out of this. We've certainly scrutinized basically every play that these guys ran the first game, so the new chapter will be good, because really, ultimately, the most important thing, I know, for example, we talked a lot about the last drive for each guy, 2-minute drill for Malik Willis late, where they get inside the 10, can't punch it in. And then Levis gets sort of the surprise chance at 39 seconds left and gets him down there. He's got a chance. Neither of them were able to get him in there for that last touchdown. But the important thing is now you can take that. That's a teaching moment, and the good players learn from that. So it might have been the best thing to not have won that game. Maybe it's best that they didn't score. So now you take that, and the next time they're in that situation, will they be better because of that? That's how you have to look at it. That's what a coach will look at.
Do we have Hutton?
Yeah. I think we have. Do we have Hut?
We don't have Hutton quite yet, but I do want to hear who he thought was the best quarterback yesterday. And that was something that I talked about with Trevor Maddich when I was filling in for Jared yesterday. Was he said that he thought that Malik Willis was the better quarterback because he took things that were in front of him, causing the layups. I think that was something that Tim Hasselbeck also mentioned yesterday was, hey, when the defense gives you an opportunity, you got to take those layups. And I completely understand that perspective. But I also have to look at the other side of things. As we said, they both did good things, and I think that they did, especially in comparison to their growth and what we've seen at practice. We can see that both quarterbacks have kept the things that they've needed to work on in the back of their minds. Like, I could tell, the gears were grinding for Malik Willis to not just jet off when the first opportunity presented itself to use his legs. But also on the other side of things is, who did the worst things worse? But Jonathan Hutton is with us now. Hutton, who was the better quarterback on Saturday?
Oh, what it's to be determined. Look, by the way, it's good to have the trio back together. Willy?
Yeah.
It's been good to see you. D-Mase, Caroline. Willis was the better quarterback. I thought Malik Willis played better, but the caveat to that is he also made more mistakes than Will Levis. So I think it's an incomplete. I think it's closer than just the obvious Malik Willis is the backup and Levis is the 3. I'm not willing to say that yet because we have time. If the season started tomorrow in New Orleans, I think Malik Willis is the backup, and that's a big surprise for me, guys. I stand with if it's a tie deal, I think that you would go with Levis, but I don't think it's tied. But I also don't think it's a landslide one way or the other.
Jonathan Hutton is with us. Hutton, what do you think about the offensive line? And we saw one series of the starting offensive line. Do you feel more encouraged, about the same, less encouraged about the offensive line after what we saw on Saturday?
I was hoping they would play the offensive line more. Mm-hmm. Willis and Levis were rotating. I don't know why not rotating on the front offensive line, but these guys need reps. I understand that the coaching staff, Vrabel has a better grasp on that than I do. 5 new starters in week 1 and potentially through week 6 if they stay healthy. That deserves more than one drive. What we saw was very encouraging. I thought they were efficient. I thought they had some great push, and especially in the run game down close to the goal line. I'm not trying to, throw in the towel on them. I do think they need more live work. And here's where I'm coming. It's not just about starting the entire group from scratch compared to last year. I think that's a good thing. It's who they're going with. And the other thing to keep in mind is not just last year, the last 2 years in week 1, this offense has been sluggish and behind. And that was with Arizona and New York. And I just get the same feel that everything's going to be kind of coming together over the first couple of games because that's kind of what is expected based on all the new pieces. But at the same time, I don't know why you run it back the way they have if you're not going to do everything possible to hit the ground running in week 1. I think it's imperative that they do much better than what we've seen the last 2 years from the same, for the most part, the same offensive group and now a new look offensive line. They're going to get a lot of work starting today in Minneapolis. There's no doubt. But I think in just terms of reps and the consistency, I would go for another drive instead of treating them like this is some veteran line that we would have seen on this team 2 years ago.
Talk with Jonathan Hutton, host of Hot Mic with Hutton and Withrow, 3 to 6 on these airwaves. Hut, which guy or guys you think did well? We talked about this yesterday, Willie and I thought some of the receivers did a really good job. Jackson, Roberson. I think Tajay Spears did a really good job. But there were guys also that didn't do so well. So which guys do you think helped themselves and hurt themselves?
To me, it's Spears and then the rest of the group. I don't know if you guys agree, but Tajay Spears is the big winner. And this was evident from minicamp. And this has been evident since day 1 of training camp. He is going to be more than just a change of pace back for this offense. He's going to be more than just a wrinkle in the passing game. I'm intrigued to see how they roll him out with Tim Kelly. I thought, and speaking of Tim Kelly, I put him on this list. I like the way that he stacked calls. I like the way that he ran the offense from his viewpoint, and you can see kind of the rhythm of what he's trying to get into. Now he's got young quarterbacks that are stalling that a bit. He also doesn't have the top tier wide receivers, but I did like what I saw from the debut of Kelly compared to what we've seen. And it starts with Tajay Spears and how they're making him, they're forcing the issue with him, and that is such a breath of fresh air for a rookie to come in, and instead of just being spoon-fed, just allowing them to go out, put them in the mix, and tell them, yeah, you're a part of this group. It's time to go. And Spears has done that. I'm very impressed with what he's done so far, and I think he's more than just a third down back.
Now, do you think they should? Because I think the position that I am worried about, Hut, is the tight end position. I think besides Chickaconquo, and he's only a second-year guy, but I believe he has a huge upside, and he showed some of it last year. But they really don't have any depth behind that position. When you're relying on a second-year guy to be the head of that position, I just think you're setting yourself up for failure if he does go down. So that position, it really, to me, it disappointed me other than Chig, and Chig didn't play. But they need some depth, some quality depth at that position.
Agreed. And Mace, you could pick a position and we could replay what you just said. Mm-hmm. And I think it would fit for practically any position on this roster. And that is due in large part to the rookie classes. I mean, that was glaring to me, is the depth on this team is nowhere close to where it needs to be. And that's where you have to eventually you have to pay the piper. You swing and miss on Isaiah Wilson. Dylan Radins is a backup. And you have the injuries that you have, and you allocate money to guys that are no longer here. Eventually you have to build back up with those draft picks. You don't go back and draft a wide receiver in the 3rd round. Instead, you try to get some help in the backfield, but in something that Haskins wasn't. And you also have to address the offensive line all over again. And, oh, by the way, you need help at corner because Caleb Farley is nowhere to be found. I mean, those picks come back to bite them. And we saw it a bit last year. We're already seeing it without any injuries now. And beyond Skoronski, I thought was exactly who we would think he would be in this debut. Mm-hmm. Burks, Okonkwo, and Spears. I mean, is there a young offensive talent that is exciting in terms of, that they're going to come along and be a part of this offense by October, be a part of this offense by playoff time? Other than those guys, I can't point to anybody. And it's not just a tight end issue, but that is a huge part of what they want to do and how they're built. You're exactly right. And, I mean, I think we all learned the second and third string offensive linemen currently on this team are nowhere close to being anywhere compared to Andre Dillard, who was a backup in Philly, who's now a starting left tackle for this team. So that's the other main concern, and probably plays into why they're not seeing many reps in live action unless it's a controlled atmosphere and environment like they'll get today.
More with Hutton coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Every day we are live and local.
I think Vanderbilt is steady, disciplined.
It's been so long since Tennessee's gotten out of the first weekend.
And your source for Nashville sports.
I don't mind going to another team.
You want to know what the coaching staff's going to look like?
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. This is Derek Mason, and I'm here to tell you about Zen Sports, the new sports betting app in Tennessee, revolutionizing sports betting rewards. What if I told you that you was wasting your time and money betting on sports books? That's not Zen Sports. Zen Sports offers real cash rewards for those lucky enough to be in Tennessee, and that means no funny money, points, or credits. For a welcome bonus, earn 5% cash back on every bet you place for your first 15 days with the code D-Mase. That's unlimited 5% cash back on your bets with the code D-Mason. That's D-M-A-S-O-N. And earn up to 3% cash back on your bets after that with Zen Sports Loyalty Program. So make the switch today and start betting on Zen Sports. Your wallet and your purse will thank you later, believe me. Gambling problems, call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 years or older to bet in Tennessee. Zen Sports, betting just got better.
Hey everybody, Joe Rexford here, asking you to please come out and join the Brentwood Fire and Police, the Williamson County Sheriff's Office, Nolensville Fire, and Franklin Fire Departments for the 10th Annual Williamson County Battle of the Badges Blood Drive today, going on until 6 p.m. at the John P. Holt Brentwood Library on Concord Road. Sponsored by B.L. Harbert International. Every 2 seconds, there's someone in need of blood or platelets. This year's 10th Annual Blood Drive is in honor of Nolensville Fire Chief David Windrow and retired Brentwood Assistant Police Chief Tommy Walsh. The drive runs through today at 6 p.m. Presenting donors are eligible for a drawing for door prizes. Please come out, support the 10th Annual Williamson County Battle of the Badges Blood Drive today until 6 at the John P. Holt Brentwood Library, 8109 Concord Road, sponsored by B.L. Harbert International.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
We try to stay cool by being on social media.
I'm with it. I'm hip.
Follow us on Twitter at 1025thegame and on Instagram at 1025thegame Nashville.
Hey!
Oh yeah, and like us on Facebook too. Having some fun in the midday.
Okay, that's really fun.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase.
It's a good source of energy because it's live.
On 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase is brought to you by Zen Sports. Start earning cash rewards on your bets today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and in Tennessee to bet. Jonathan Hutton, Hot Mike with Hutton Withrow, is with us now.
Okay, Hut, I got a couple of numbers for you to chew on here. And you have to keep in mind that for the first time in a while, this is one of the things that Ryan Tannehill should be commended for, is he's been durable. But last year, there's about 150 plays or so that he's not in the game. But last year, I'm looking at the football almanac that Aaron Schatz puts out every year. Last year, the Titans, despite all of the limitations of offense, were second in the NFL at 8.9 yards per play on play action. But they had only 4.9 yards per play without play action. I'm looking at things that Tim Kelly, can they improve on those numbers, and how do you go about it? So how would you try to tackle that? If you're Tim Kelly, that number alone, because we know that's been the case for a long time. Their bread and butter has been effective play action passing, but a little deficient in the other one.
Great. It's a great observation, and Schatz does a nice job with those analytics. Look, let's also this is the area where I think the great debate on Todd Downing prior to anything in December happened, because what Tim Kelly has to start the season is a far better receiving core than some of those play action opportunities that Tannehill would have been using in those situations. So I think they went away from play action because they couldn't protect him. They didn't want to turn the back to the defense. It was that bad. And who are they throwing to last year? I mean, it was a terrible group for the second half of that year. And I mean, they started out with injuries as it was. Point being, Kelly, here's the thing that the balance to me, and using Henry, where they were so many times, so often on the 3 and outs, it was very predictable what they were going to do. Not because they're a run-first team or because Henry gets the ball on first and second down. It was there on second down, it's 2nd and 11. On third down, it's 3rd and 13 or 3rd and 8, where they've got to have someone step up and make a play. And, there's no one really to go to that you're pointing to as the guy. Burks and Hopkins can be that guy. They just, have to stay together. The other thing, too, to factor in is some of these games where Malik Willis, and I know you're just looking at Tannehill, but the play action numbers, too. I mean, if we're just going for the entire season, they weren't even trying to throw the football with him. So, and Tannehill's banged up, too, with the ankle, playing through injury would factor into some of these notes on when they did and when they didn't, and the success rate versus not using it, but probably had to a bit more based on mobility. I think all those things factor in, but I think Kelly, just a nuanced sense here. I think we have to look at it from what we saw in Houston with him in 2019, 2020. In 2021, the Titans were the worst opening series team in the NFL. They could not score early. And last year they fixed that, and they were as good as any team early in games. And then, the levee broke, the wheels fell off. And I thought from the fix now is, can they just maintain consistency? Can they go from 18 points to 22 points per game? That puts them in a different stratosphere, and that also puts them with a notch in the win column that they would have needed last year to make the playoffs. Tannehill's at his best on play action. He's best throwing across the middle of the field. We saw that in 2020 with the dynamic group that they had offensively. But all of that played off of a 2,000-yard season for Henry. And when Henry's running for 1,500 yards, but the wins aren't there, that's not just a Tannehill or a play call issue. That can be up front on the line. It can be who they're throwing to and who's able to make the plays. And if they're even able to catch the ball and get to the sticks, stay on the field also helps this. There were a lot of 3-and-outs a year ago.
You brought up something I was going to bring up, and that is how the analytics people interpret something like what happened to the Titans last year. They got off to some very good starts, and one of the big criticisms of Downing was after the first 20, 25 plays, then he's running out of wrinkles. Now, and obviously the production dropped off in the second half. They were one of the worst second-half offensive teams, if not the worst, especially in the fourth quarter. You have to go back and look, but we know the deal, right? They started off reasonably well, and there was a drop-off. A lot of people in analytics, they don't think that year in and year out, it's always a product of the coordinator. It just is a random thing sometimes. I'll give you an example on hockey. Sometimes a team is really good in the second period, but not as much in the first period. And you're like, why does that happen? The coach doesn't have the answer half the time, most of the time. You try to come up with theories, but there's really no reason. And sometimes the statisticians say, look, it's random. It's just how things are falling over the course of the game. But do you buy that, Jonathan? Do you think that it will be different with a different coordinator, the first half, second half performance? Because that's obviously something we're going to be looking for.
Well, the big change, they were bad in 2021 in the first half again, and then the change.
Yeah, and it
last
flipped,
year
like you said.
Cannon.
So was that random, or was there a reason for that?
I mean, I believe in layering calls and staying ahead of the defensive coordinator. That's on the coordinator. That certain calls that he would mix in were just kind of mind-numbing on how they would do it. They'd be in a drive. They'd actually have a nice drive in the second quarter, and he would insert something that would just stall the drive. By the way, the Titans averaged 2.2 points per game in the fourth quarter a year ago. That is dead last.
Not good.
That's
Chicago
disgusting.
3.5.
Oh, my God. That's worse than I even thought.
Yeah, it's pathetic. Now, keep in mind, in 2021, like we're flipping this, they didn't start games well. They finished games well. They averaged nearly 7 points in the fourth quarter in 2021. So, like they've got to maintain. They were not able to do that, and the defense is what allowed them to even be in games for the first half of the year when they had no business going to Kansas City with Malik Willis as the starter and being in a final possession of that. It's a mix, Willie. It's the coordinator absolutely plays a factor in it because that's the rhythm, that's the heartbeat of what you're trying to accomplish in the game plan. But there were times last year, and look, I'm not a Downing guy. I'm glad that Tim Kelly is in this position. There were times where it did not matter what their focus was, and their focus is Henry, because they were stalling out, and when they had to pass, Tannehill was getting lit up. It was that bad. They were consistently inconsistent and very predictable, not just on down and distance, but on when they would be good and when they wouldn't be good. And there was no adjustment from that. That was a theme all through the year, and they never got their head around exactly what was going on. And by the end of the year, they had no one that was going to help the cause in terms of depth or roster spots because they were on guy 90 instead of guy 53.
Yes, so we do have to factor that in. All right, one more on the offensive line. And this is another question of how will it look with Tim Kelly? We know there are still major questions with the offensive line. Part of the reason for this is because of shaky offensive line play. But last year, and I think you could look back the year before and the year before, and it would be similar. The Titans used two tight ends more than almost anybody. Fourth most in the league last year. And I don't think that differs from the year before that. And, people would talk about Swaim and why is Swaim in the game, all this. They use the second tight end a lot, almost like an extra offensive lineman. 42% of their snaps had 2 tight ends in there last year. Is that going to be significantly different this year? Or do you think Tim Kelly is going to have to say, look, I got a shaky offensive line here. I need extra help, big guys up front?
I think they have to go bigger. They've got different tight ends, versatile tight ends or options, I should say, on this roster. Guys they can motion into the backfield to be the H, and guys they can motion from that position up to help at right tackle or left tackle. But the way the offense is built and the drop-off of the top 2 receivers and then the rest of the group, I think they are far better served to have an extra tight end as even a passing option just to, gain some positive yardage if the levee breaks and Tannehill's got to get the ball out quick. I also think Tajay Spears can play a factor in that too. And, they've had that wrinkle. I think he's going to be more than that. And he could even be a 3-down back if they want to give him a full series. I think they're that confident in him. So they have pieces that they haven't had last year, the year prior, but the 2 tight and the best success we saw with Tannehill was with Arthur Smith and the 2 tight end concept. And they still put up a 1,000-yard receiver. They should have had 2, but Corey Davis missed 2 or 3 games with a hammy. And they had a 2,000-yard rusher with that too. And, you had the tight ends combined for like 700 yards that year. So that's where they're at their best. And that also factors into play action with the 2 tight because you can do more things off of that. And I think that's more what Kelly is about. And that's also why when Arthur Smith left, Willie, and took the head coaching job in Atlanta, one of the first guys that Vrabel tried to get in touch with and asked permission to talk with was Tim Kelly in Houston, and that was denied. And as soon as the coaching staff broke up there, well, guess who's here? Tim Kelly. That it will be more of what we saw with Arthur Smith compared to Downing, who ran a lot of 11 personnel in Oakland. And so he did what he was brought in to do and hired to do. He ran his offense as the coordinator. And that was vastly different than what we saw the year prior.
Now, quickly before we get you out of here, can you see this team making some type of move, a trade, if this offensive line and the depth, because it as we speak now, it doesn't seem like they have much depth at all. But can you see this team making a move via trade before the season starts?
It would have to be
even if they got anything to trade, you know?
Well, draft picks and stuff, right?
Yeah.
But that's again, offensive line trades are so rare because the second tier offensive lineman in the NFL there is a massive drop off. It's like starting quarterback. Nowadays, the best athletes on the field, if you're big, you're playing defensive line. You're rushing the passer, you're not blocking. It's tough to find the athletic lineman. And it's glaring. I don't know if you guys agree, but there is a steep drop off in overall ability, athletic ability from first string to second string. And if you've got a luxury of having, the Dennis Kelly who can be a 6-man more or less, I don't think you trade that guy if you're in a good spot. You're in a luxury position, and you're probably the general manager of a pretty good football team. So I don't get rid of those guys, because if you trade one of them and then you have an injury, the guy that you should have there is going to be far better than the guy that you currently would have in-house. So I think you're more likely to try to, again, hit the waiver wire, find out about all these cuts. But that's not good either, because if they're on the waiver wire, they're not starters. They're not that guy that we're talking about trading for. It's a difficult spot. I would also say the same thing, the more likely, not for a trade, but how worried are you guys about kicker? Because I am.
I'm worried.
Here we go again there. This team is built to be close in the fourth quarter, And I mean, if you need a 44-yard field goal for the tie or the win, I mean, I'm not confident in it. And that's going to be a weekly issue. It's not it's a weekly confidence issue. And it could be the difference in the division. It really could. I'm really concerned about it. And I'm talking about a bad division and how I view it currently. It's an average division, and it's top heavy with Jacksonville and Tennessee compared to the others. Houston could play a factor, but the kicker is going to definitely play a factor for Tennessee.
I'm worried about kicker. I'm sick of worrying about the kicker, Hut.
Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of kicker, like 2 or 3 kickers on rosters right now. So there's going to be there'll be an open tryout in late August at the practice facility of the Tennessee Titans. Let's put it that way.
Maybe I'll go.
I don't think they go into the season very confident based on the fact that, I mean, Shudak's got to be the guy. And, you know, he's in it's not like they're creating a competition for him. He's in a competition. You know, some of these kickers, they
he's
would
making
try
it harder
to create a
on himself.
competition. That's not the case here.
Hut, appreciate you. Enjoy the week. Enjoy the game on Saturday night. We'll chat soon.
Yep, you guys always do a great job. Always enjoy this. Have a great week.
Awesome. Thanks, Hut. You too. Coming up next, there is something that is becoming more difficult to ignore in this town, and we will explain coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
It's a long summer. But don't worry. Hockey will be back soon. You'll hear every slap shot, save, hit, and of course,
knocked down in front, rebound, and a score!
On your home for Smashville. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Is it October yet?
What's up, y'all? It's Caroline Fenton here for our friends over at Superbook Sports. Football season is right around the corner, and now is the time to place your preseason bets with Superbook in Tennessee. Superbook is the most trusted name in Vegas, and now you can use promo code Caroline, my name, Caroline, to score up to $250 with their first bet bonus. Win or lose, they will match your first bet up to $250 with promo code Caroline. Will Tennessee win the division this year? Who's your pick for MVP, and which team will win it all in February? Don't sit on the sidelines. Win money this season with Superbook Sports. Simply download the Superbook Tennessee app or visit superbook.com to place your wager today. Football, a $250 first bet bonus, and the Caroline promo code will make you do your own touchdown dance this season with Superbook Sports. So visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Your home reflects you, your style, your choices. That's why purchasing a home is not just financially significant, it's personal too. At F&M Mortgage, we understand clients need a loan that's just as personal, one that fits you with service from a local lender who lives right here. Yes, we offer competitive rates and low closing costs, but we also know home financing should be more than just numbers. Come see us at one of our branches or online at myfmbank.com. F&M Bank, banking made easy on purpose. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Hey, are you seeking relief? Maybe you just want to enhance your day or night. Did you know there are legal THC products available right here in Tennessee? Yeah, really. You can have legal THC products shipped directly to the comfort of your home. Yes, comfort in cannabis is only a website away. Visit greentreescompany.com. That's Green Trees with a Z, and change your life today.
It's time to let your voice be heard. Nashville is headed to a runoff in the mayoral race on Thursday, September 14th. Stand up and be counted. Cromwell Media reminds you to get out and vote for the future of our city.
Genesis Diamond's most extreme value on diamonds is coming to an end. You have until Sunday at 5 p.m. to get the price of a lifetime on a certified GIA diamond ring.
Response has been incredible. People have driven for hours to buy like a dealer buys. All GIA certified diamond rings are on sale. A full 20% discount off Genesis' amazing everyday value price.
We're talking values you never thought possible. From a half carat to 20 carat diamonds, all hand-picked for maximum brilliance and all graded by the most prestigious largest gym lab in the world.
Don't be surprised to see jewelry store owners and diamond dealers shopping alongside you.
Genesis has the largest GIA diamond selection you've ever seen. Rounds, ovals, radiance, cushion cuts, pear shapes, emerald cuts, princess cuts.
And now through Sunday, you can take advantage of this rare buying opportunity. Limit one per customer, please.
Get the Genesis no middleman direct importer price minus an extra 20% on all GIA diamond engagement rings. Now through Sunday only at Genesis Diamonds.
Green Hills and Cool Springs.
See store for details.
Drowning in IRS debt? If you can't afford to pay your IRS debt due to economic hardship, you can now be free of IRS collection efforts by taking advantage of a special IRS tax hardship program. This program allows Americans who owe the IRS to resolve their delinquent tax debt once and for all. In some cases, maybe even reducing what you owe significantly. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Simply dial 800-249-2509. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back or have years of unfiled tax returns, help is standing by. Just call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-249-2509 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-249-2509 to see if you qualify. That's 800-249-2509.
Nashville Sounds Baseball lives on 94.9 The Fan. Catch every pitch.
Swing and a miss, strike three.
Every hit.
That's a base hit.
Every run.
Looking up, it's gone.
On your home for Sounds Baseball. 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
Hey Nashville, this is Rick Stockstill, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 The Game.
Nothing changes. You know, nobody ever gives us a chance. And I think that's part of maybe the internal drive of the group. We always seem to be, you know, the ugly sister, as it were. As far as the goal's concerned, I actually haven't seen it again. But what I would say is this: the actual build up to it and then the finish was so incredibly good. I would have to assume that for whatever reason the goal was disallowed. It was a major reason, a very important reason. Have any of the guys in here and ladies seen it? If you have, you probably have a better idea than I. But I would seriously question why that goal is scratched off.
I could listen to Gary Smith talk all day long. I love it. I love his voice. That was the head coach of Nashville SC, Gary Smith. Now, if you've listened to this program, you may know how I feel about Nashville SC. I think that it is an elitist club that puts itself on a pedestal. Like, I compare it to the Nashville Predators, for example. When the Nashville Predators came to town, they did everything in their power to educate the city on the game, to make it accessible, to break down any barriers between a non-hockey town at the time and the game of hockey. And now you can't tell the story of the city of Nashville without the Nashville Predators. Nashville SC, on the other hand, I don't feel that has come even close to what the Nashville Predators did, for example, of being a new team in town, maybe a sport that's not as popular as, say, football. You bring an NFL team in town, you don't really need to reach out to get fans. It's football. Soccer, hockey, those sports are different. You're going to have to break down those barriers a little bit. So it's a club that I've had some frustrations with. It's a league that I've had frustrations with, that you're going to play all your games on Apple TV+. You're going to put your games in a sport that's not as popular as baseball or football or even hockey. You're going to put it behind a paywall on a streaming service that's really not that popular. Like, it's not like an Amazon where everyone has an Amazon. Like, I don't have an Apple TV+. Do you have an Apple TV+?
I do.
I do for Ted Lasso.
Okay.
But I don't have the Plus. So it's a paywall with an extra paywall is what it is. You
Is
pay
it?
for Apple TV. Well, you got to pay for Apple TV.
Oh.
You
Lord.
subscribe to Apple TV, and then you pay for Apple TV Plus to get the soccer games, which I don't do.
There's not enough money to go around here.
Well, we've had this discussion about all the different platforms now where the games are. It is a really fascinating story how they've gone about it, because they've done a lot right. Nashville SC's done a lot right. But now what you're leading to, Caroline, is
the fact that
what's
we can't
going to
ignore it
happen
anymore.
on Saturday.
Right.
the perfect storm has happened, and now you have one of the greatest soccer stars of all time, worldwide, is playing in our city on Saturday. So what do you do? Like that to the soccer diehards, it's already on. Like look at the ticket prices on the secondary market for these tickets.
I'm looking at
Saturday
ticket
night.
prices right now on Ticketmaster, and it says verified resale tickets, $2,200 in section 103.
A friend of mine texted me, said I went to the game last week, got these seats pretty solid seats for $87 a couple weeks ago for the game. For the game on Saturday against Miami, Messi's team, $1,400.
And that's on the secondary market?
This is on ticketsonsale.com, which I've never heard of before. So
I believe that's
market.
a secondary market.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of layers to this because for a season ticket holder of the Nashville SC, you have access to these games, but there were different levels because what's happening, Lionel Messi and his team, it's confusing because they're in the MLS, but this is a non-MLS league tournament that's going on, right? There's a lot of teams in there.
It's constructed by the MLS committee, I do believe, but they do include the Liga MX, the Mexican leagues, and then some Canadian clubs as well.
Right, and Nashville SC has gone on a great run. Last night they upset, put this in perspective, Nick, probably the best team they've ever beaten last night.
I mean, this whole run they've had against Club America, Monterrey, those are two of the most historic clubs in Mexican soccer. So with those two upsets, it does put it into perspective that was probably the biggest upset in club history.
So winning these games, they now have the opportunity to play against the Miami team that Messi has been playing for,
Correct.
and they've won on their end. So it's really we didn't expect this going into this year that you would have this opportunity, right?
Right. No, a couple weeks ago, I was on Junie and Nick Keyser's show on the weekend, Riddle and the Reporter, and I have my own little Nashville SC segment at the end. They were like, "So what's the deal with Nashville SC?" They're on their downslope at the time. I was like, "Listen, this tournament, this is going to turn them around. I do believe this is going to be their upswing." And sure enough, they're at this upswing facing Lionel Messi in the final in Nashville. So like going up against the greatest player on the planet, easily, hands down. This is a huge opportunity. I've said it like beating it like a broken drum, but it's a huge opportunity for the city and the club.
So biggest soccer game that's ever been played in Nashville, even though we've had some pretty high-level Olympic qualifiers, World Cup qualifiers for the women.
This beats it.
I think it'll end up being bigger, but because of the venue, it won't get the largest crowd because they sold out Nissan. With
59,000.
59,000. They sold out Nissan years ago. Was it last year or 2 years ago?
It was back in 2020. It was their home opener against Atlanta United.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be huge.
It's going to be packed, but they won't reach the numbers that they would have reached. That's one of those situations where you almost think, shouldn't you play it at Nissan Stadium?
Well,
now that would create a lot of issues for the season ticket because
it would.
Yeah, but I'm just saying because you can get more
agree,
people.
Though. Yeah.
And it's gonna be huge.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Messi. It's one of the biggest stars, not just in sports, but just in the world. Period. But the point that Willy was bringing up was, if you're a season ticket holder, the going rate for a game on average is probably $60.
So I have a ticket breakdown if you guys want the ticket breakdown.
But the ticket prices for this game against Miami are 10, 15 times what they are for a normal game. So is that fair? Like, is that fair to be price gouging your season ticket holders?
Of course, it's not fair, but it happens.
Well, the question comes down to, I don't know whose decision it is. Is it Nashville SC's decision, or is this MLS telling them what to charge? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, Nick, as I understand it, if you bought the full season ticket package, which includes all home games that are played in that stadium, then you pay your regular price. You hit the jackpot for this. But if you only purchase the league games, you have access to this game on Saturday, which you should, but you're paying the gouge price.
$386 per seat. And that's in the 200s. So the ticket.
And there are no bad seats in this stadium. I'll say this. If you're upper deck at that stadium, it's still a great place to watch the game.
When I cover the team, I love to do a walk around the stadium. And I went to the highest part of the stadium, and I took a giant snapshot. It is probably kind of like the Preds. Anywhere in Bridgestone's a great seat. Same here with Nashville SC. Anywhere you sit is a phenomenal seat. But here's the ticket breakdown. I'll make it very brief. Behind the goal, not in the supporters section. This is throughout the Leagues Cup minus the Inter Miami game. $51 to $55. Sideline seats opposite of the bench, $102 to $115.
This is just for like a regular game.
This is during the Leagues Cup and regular game, kind of in that realm.
Okay, so non-messy game.
Correct, non-messy. 200 level, $33 to $45. Supporters section, $24. Not preferred if you're trying to watch it with your family, just because everyone's standing. And then during the messy extravaganza, the cheapest ticket for general standing room is around $640. So
Wow.
$640.
Okay, so they limit it to 6.
Yes.
Per person.
Correct.
It's hard to sort of understand it because even now I'm looking on Ticketmaster, and even before it's been open to the public, half of these seats are already sold, and they're selling now on resale for $5,000, $6,000. So if you're only limiting people or your, season ticket holders to 6 tickets, are you doing that across the board? Because it doesn't seem like you are.
But there's only so much that they can control. Like, I don't have a problem with them limiting tickets because I think that eliminates the possibility of some person buying up a bunch of tickets and then selling them on the resale market.
Well, they're going to do it anyway.
But up to 6. Because they could buy 30 of these tickets and then resell them at an absolutely astronomical price. But honestly, D-Mase, I'm with you. I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's when in Rome, you have the biggest star in the game, the biggest star in a long time coming into your city. I don't have a problem with it.
Well, I mean,
capitalize on it.
Basketball does it all the time. Football is hard to do. You rarely do it unless it's the Super Bowl where the prices are up. But basketball,
even if you were going to go to a Titans game, I mean, when Joe Burrow and the Bengals are in town, tickets are much more expensive than when.
But you're
the
not going to be
Falcons
paying.
are in
You're
town.
not going to be paying $1,000 for a ticket. You're just not. You're probably not even pay over $400 for a ticket at a football game. But when you're talking basketball, when LeBron James come into town, especially this upcoming season where people don't know if he's going to retire or not, let him say he's going to retire and watch those tickets go from, I don't know, $200 to $2,000, no matter where you're at. So I guess what I'm saying is there are sports that can do it, basketball, soccer. There are sports that can't do it. Football probably is the one that it's hard to do it unless it's the Super Bowl. Even baseball, do they do it in baseball?
No. Change the price based on the game? No, I don't think so.
So baseball and football are they're
Unless
more
it's
consistent.
postseason is different, obviously,
yeah,
than the regular
exactly.
And
But
resale
it's consistent.
is something that's kind of out of their control. Like, let's say
That's the market determines,
if Aaron
really.
Judge or Shohei Ohtani are in town, the ticket prices on the resale market are going to be much higher than when the A's are in town.
My buddy just texted me. I'm not sure what site this is, but he said a front row ticket to this Saturday night's game is $23,000.
Okay, so let's.
I don't know. I don't know where he got that from. I'll have to try to find it, confirm the source, but that is ridiculous.
Even if he just made that up, I believe it.
I want to know if anybody's going to this game. I would love to hear from our listeners on the call or text line, 615-737-1025. Are you going? And what we need to hit on the other side is, are you going to watch? This game goes up against the Titans game on Saturday night. So are you flipping back and forth? We've talked about the fact that the games are really generally not televised unless you pay the Apple Plus. But I believe, Nick, you told us that you can watch this game, right? This game
I
is
do
on?
believe so. I know last night that Apple TV did a semifinal watch free of the Leagues Cup. I'm not sure if it's going to be for the final. I'm assuming it should be, and then I think Fox might also carry this as well. So going to confirm those during the break, and we'll get you an answer.
We'll get your thoughts on this coming up next, but the question is what Willie just posed. Messi in Nashville, Leagues Cup, or Titans preseason game? What are you going to be watching? We'll get into that.
And
on
how
the
do you
other side.
maximize this opportunity if you're Nashville SC to try to get more in the mainstream? To me, this is a huge chance to do that.
Huge
Like
opportunity.
you said, I do think there's a detachment. It's like, hey, if you love soccer, we're here, and they're getting theirs. They're getting great crowds. They're doing, but do you want to go for the big home run, which to me encompasses the whole city? You feel like even non-soccer fans are more drawn to that stadium. I think that's the next level for them, and this is a great chance for them to make inroads there.
Great opportunity for Nashville SC. We'll get into your thoughts on the other side. 615-737-1025. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 1025, 1063 The Game.
1025 and 1063 The Game is live and local.
And now, let's meet the starting lineups.
Robbie and Rex Rhodes 6 to 9.
Big time performance, best part of the team.
Chase McCabe 9 to 11.
An unrestricted free agent.
Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase 11 to 2.
Got the big contract.
The Velvet Touch.
Talking about Hall of Famers.
And Stillman and Company 2 to 6.
Kept going for it.
And don't forget, we're your home for all things Smashville.
He scored!
Nashville's best sports talk. 1025 and 1063 The Game.
Hey everybody, Joe Rexrode here to tell you about PhD Weight Loss. Went into the program with the goal of losing 38 pounds. Hit that goal. I feel great. Loving the food items they provide. No pills involved in there. No gimmicks, no other suppressants, no cravings. It feels good. And I'm in the maintenance situation now. And that's the thing about this. It's sustainable. Okay. This program is a plateau busting program. If you try to lose weight before, you know about the plateau. You kind of stall out, eventually quit, move on to something else. PhD Weight Loss, we're talking constant care. We're talking customized program designed for you, tweaked for you. I have a coach, Rachel. I talk with her every week. And she got me through to the 38 pounds, and now I'm in maintenance, and I'm going to keep it off and maybe lose a little bit more, but you can add a little bit more food to the plate, and this has been very, very easy, very fun. And there's a guarantee. If you don't get within 5 pounds of your target weight at the end of your program, PhD will continue to coach you for free until you do. Join me now. You won't regret it. Visit myphdweightloss.com.
Genesis Diamond's most extreme value on diamonds is coming to an end. You have until Sunday at 5 p.m. to get the price of a lifetime on a certified GIA diamond ring.
Response has been incredible. People have driven for hours to buy like a dealer buys. All GIA certified diamond rings are on sale. A full 20% discount off Genesis' amazing everyday value price.
We're talking values you never thought possible. From a half carat to 20 carat diamonds, all hand-picked for maximum brilliance and all graded by the most prestigious gem lab in the world.
Don't be surprised to see jewelry store owners and diamond dealers shopping alongside you.
Genesis has the largest GIA diamond selection you've ever seen. Rounds, ovals, radiance, cushion cuts, pear shapes, emerald cuts, princess cuts.
And now through Sunday, you can take advantage of this rare buying opportunity. Limit one per customer, please.
Get the Genesis no middleman direct importer price minus an extra 20% on all GIA diamond engagement rings. Now through Sunday only at Genesis Diamonds.
Green Hills and Cool Springs.
See store for details.
Hey folks, it's Joe Rexrode here from the John P. Holt Brentwood Library. I'm here with Perry Dornbush. We are at the 10th Annual Williamson County Battle of the Badges Blood Drive, going on today till 6 p.m. Join the Brentwood Fire and Police, Williamson County Sheriff's Office, Nolensville Fire, and Franklin Fire Departments for this important event, sponsored by B.L. Harbert International. You know, every 2 seconds, there is someone in need of blood or platelets. This year's 10th Annual Blood Drive is in honor of Nolensville Fire Chief David Windrow, my fire chief, Franklin Fire Captain Scott Maynard, and retired Brentwood Assistant Police Chief Tommy Walsh. The drive runs through tomorrow, Thursday, August 17th. That goes from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. tomorrow. And presenting donors are eligible for a drawing for door prizes. Please come out, support this important event. Again, we're talking the 10th Annual Williamson County Battle of the Badges Blood Drive today until 6 p.m. and then tomorrow 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. The John P. Holt Brentwood Library, 8109 Concord Road. And this great event is sponsored by B.L. Harbert International.
When it comes to Chase McCabe,
The Nashville Predators, the Titans, the NBA, college football, talk a little racing.
you get a little bit of everything.
But hey, you know what? We're getting it done.
Join Chase McCabe weekday mornings at 9 on 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Having some fun in the midday.
Yeah, it's awesome.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase on 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase. Hey, we are your racing station. 1025 and 1063 The Game is Nashville's home for NASCAR. Tune in this Sunday for the Go Bowling at the Glen at 3 p.m. For the Go Bowling at the Glen at 3 p.m. NASCAR on 1025, 1063 The Game is presented by O'Charlie's. So the question of the day. So Nashville SC is hosting Lionel Messi in the League Cup on Saturday. The biggest star in the game. One of the biggest star in sports worldwide. Messi in Nashville. I saw someone tweet out, it's pretty wild that Messi's going to be playing across the street from Santa's Pub. Life comes at you fast. You're watching that game or the Titans preseason game. Now, Raymond and Franklin text in. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com. Says you're comparing it to a preseason Titans game. LOL, if you're a soccer fan, you're not watching those third and fourth stringers play. Well, duh. If you're a soccer fan, you're going to be watching this game, whether you're in Nashville or Miami or wherever you are. But the question isn't towards soccer fans. The question is just toward our listeners here. Because I think that's kind of the interesting thing, the fact that we're even bringing up the question. Are you watching one of the biggest stars of the game, if not the biggest star of the game, or a Titans preseason game? The fact that we even have to ask the question is really the crux of the conversation.
I think it's a fascinating question. And I remember a couple years ago, we had a guy on, it was a year or two before Nashville SC was going to take the field. We had a guy on from Atlanta, and Atlanta United was becoming a big thing. Remember a few years ago, they were playing in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. They were getting huge crowds. They won the MLS title, and now they're a good rival for Nashville. So we're saying, well, what's that like? And he made a point, which I didn't even think about it. He said, you'd be surprised how little crossover there is between a crowd that goes to a Falcons game and a crowd that goes to an Atlanta United game. So I think that's the mark of a big sports city, is you have two separate crowds. You're not relying. You're not saying, oh, man, we can't have this game Saturday night because the Titans are playing. Like, once upon a time, we used to talk about that all the time. Man, the Predators are playing and Vanderbilt basketball is playing in Kentucky. Maybe they should move their game. They would talk about the Predators like that. And the Predators were like, wait a minute, we've got to put our own roots down. We've got to develop our fan base. We can't worry about – the city's got to be big enough to handle 2 or 3 big sporting events on the same day. So that's what's happening here. But this is the first time we've had something like this. So I agree. We're going to have 5 people say, I wouldn't watch a soccer game over a football game ever.
And there's probably going to be plenty of people that say, well, why would I watch a preseason
game?
It
sounds just as crazy to them the other way than it does to Raymond saying, why would I watch a preseason football game when Messi's in town in a big soccer game in our city?
Right.
But I'm just curious how it falls. But I do think they're building their own audience. But I would like to see in soccer it become more of something that all of us look forward to.
Right.
And not just the soccer fans.
Cool angle. Sorry, D-Mase.
No, go ahead.
Cool angle going into this finals. Tata Martino, who is the manager of Inter Miami, was the manager of Atlanta United when Nashville SC played them the first time. So Tata Martino also was the coach for FC Barcelona when Lionel Messi and Jordi Alba and Sergio Busquets were all playing in Spain.
Well, if you look at, I think there's still going to be. If you're a Titan fan, you're going to watch the game. You're going to watch the Titan game. I think it comes on. Does it come on at 8 o'clock?
They're both at 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock Central. So you're still going to watch the Titans game. And there's going to be some that flip over, kind of go back and forth. Because once the starters are out, I can go back and just watch all of, the soccer game. And I don't necessarily have to be a huge soccer fan. It's just Lionel Messi is playing in my city, so I'm going to watch it. Now, will it take away from Titan fans? I don't think so. I think there's this facet of, soccer fans or SC fans, and then there are Titan fans. There are some that, sort of cross over to both. But I think, like Willie said, I think they have their own group of hardcore fans, just like the Titans have their own group of hardcore fans.
Wes in Clarksville texts and says, Titans should open Nissan Stadium for a watch party in Nashville SC. Make it happen, Caroline. I don't have this power. I cannot do this.
Well, can you imagine having one end of the Jumbotron, you can look one way and the soccer game's on, and you turn around, you have a little swivel chair, and you flip around
watch the game.
And so you have Titans on one end, Nashville SC on the other. That'd be a pretty creative idea.
Is there a concert going on this weekend at Nissan? That's what we need to find out first. Because it seems like there's a concert every week there.
But if I'm Nashville SC, I'm doing everything in my power to get that game on as many televisions in the city of Nashville as possible.
That's a great point. And I think I would be doing exactly the same thing. Make sure every sports bar has got that game on along with the Titans game. Because to me, as a sports fan, that's my mentality is, can I watch both games? I'll flip back and forth. Some people will record one game and watch the other, whatever. I like to sort of be in the moment, right? I'd love to be watching both games. And of course, is the game on the Titans game on Channel 2, and we got the same problem with the Direct TV again?
Be the same problem.
So D-Mase and I are going to be leaving our house to watch.
I got to watch Titans online.
Fingers crossed, there's no bad weather. But that's my thing with Nashville SC is it's not every day when you are in this league in the MLS that the biggest star in the sport globally is on your home turf. So what are you going to do to take advantage of that opportunity of having Messi in your stadium? But the text line is absolutely blown up on this.
I got 1 minute
D-Mase.
left. Oh, no, I got 30 seconds left to see if I can get in the queue. Well, I'm in
Oh,
the
you're
queue
going to
now.
try to get in the queue?
You got it, D-Mace.
Yes.
D-Mase is
I
like
got 10
Taylor
seconds
Swift
left.
fan.
It's there. It's like 1 minute left. Well, less
3,
than 1 minute.
Lifelong
2,
soccer fan.
Now it's
1.
gonna push me over to the queue, hopefully.
All right, well, let's see if you get your tickets.
Okay.
Because let's
Stay
get
in
to your
suspense.
text on this coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 1025, 1063, The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
B&B Flooring has a goal to bring your dream floor to you. Over 30 years running and locally owned and operated, B&B Flooring's full-service commercial and residential team will handle anything from tile, luxury vinyl, carpet, hardwood, rubber, and all commercial products. Make your flooring selection today and visit their showroom at 2204 Northwest Broad Street in Murfreesboro, or check them out at bnbflooring.com. Come celebrate B&B Flooring's official grand opening party Saturday, August 19th at their Murfreesboro location. There will be prizes, ticket giveaways, and much more.
This year, Boys and Girls Club of Middle Tennessee celebrates its 120th anniversary. Through time, BGCMT continues to evolve to enable all young people, especially those who need us most, to reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible leaders. Because of your continued support, BGCMT has remained strong and is committed to supporting our youth and solidifying our mission and culture in new exciting ways for 120 years. Visit bgcmt.org today.
Your Game Center update.
This is Nick Frazier with your Game Center update. And then there were two. The stage is set for the Leagues Cup final. Last night, Nashville SC punched their ticket to the Leagues Cup final and will host Inter Miami this Saturday at Geodis Park. Here is midfielder Dax McCarty after last night's win.
I think part of the reason why you put together such an experienced team is to be competitive right away. And we've been competitive right away, but we haven't quite been able to get over that final hurdle. And so now tonight is a night where we take all those experiences that we've had the last 4 years and we put it to the test against, again, one of the best teams that we've played since I've been here.
Tune in tonight to 94.9 The Fan as the Nashville Sounds are back in action taking on the Charlotte Knights, the AAA affiliate of the Chicago White Sox. You're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 1025 and 1063.
79-52 Vanderbilt. And I think he's going to coach up by Cheryl.
You're going to see more moves.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Covering your teams and the news of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase.
Who is pleasant to listen to.
With Caroline Fenton, Willie Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
You are hands down my favorite radio personality of all time.
On 1025 and 1063, The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
With no further ado,
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 1025, 1063, The Game, and the Game Nashville app. We're live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Game Studios, and we are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live every single day. Our video streaming is brought to you by Superbook. Download their app today and use promo code THEGAME. D-Mase, update on the queue.
Update on the queue right now is that you are now in the queue. 2,000 plus people ahead of you. So I don't know what that plus is.
2001?
That 2001?
3001?
3,000,
4,000?
10,000? It could be anything. They just said 2,000 plus.
Well, you're going to be waiting here a while.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I am. So I'm going to hold it here until after the show. Once the show's done, I'm done. I'm going to get off of it. But it's moving. It's moving a little bit.
It's the soccer fan version of Taylor Swift tickets.
Exactly, absolutely. So
we're breaking down. Nashville SC will host Messi. I mean, I could say Miami CF. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Hosting Messi on Saturday. And, I mean, this hands down is the biggest game, the biggest moment for Nashville SC since its inception. Probably will be the biggest moment for Nashville SC for the foreseeable future. So my question is, Nashville SC, what are you going to do to make sure that you got butts in those seats and you've got eyes in Nashville on your game? Because this is about as good of an opportunity as ever to get people invested into this team, to care about soccer maybe for the first time.
I'm sure you go to, for those that locals, don't go to Broadway. It's going to be a madhouse, I'm sure. It's going to be a madhouse. It always is, but I'm sure this weekend, good Lord, it's going to be even worse. But I'm sure every bar in Nashville or the surrounding areas will have this game on, along, like Willie said, along with
but will they though? Because
Tennessee game.
There's two ways that it happens. Because I go into a lot of bar and grills. Okay, a hardcore sports bar probably does think ahead and look and say, all right, what games are on today? Where do we need to put our TVs? That's what a good one does. But a lot of them, you ask a server, hey, can you get the game on between so and so and so? What channel is it? Yeah. I'll go ask the manager. Like, this isn't on ESPN. Like, a lot of times it's just on ESPN. And that's the advantage ESPN has always had, right? That's what the argument for, say, the NHL.
Well,
to have
it
some
may be
games
on locally, right?
Right, but I think a lot of times some of these bar and grills, they're not even worried what's on the TV. If it's ESPN, it's just on. Then you have to – so – does a fan come in and say, can you turn the game on to whatever channel the game is on? Now, do we know what channel it's on?
Yes, I can confirm that in the fine print it says it will be on Apple TV. They said that the Fox Sport would carry some of the games. So I don't know if that also means the final. It just didn't.
Now, we're saying Fox Sports 1? Are we saying Fox
it just says Fox
17?
Sports.
Fox Sports? Like, what is that?
Exactly. I don't know.
Again, like you ask that to, a soccer fan will know. They're like, oh, yeah, this is how you get it. This is how I'm going to get it. But the server at your local bar and grill, do they know how to get that? Not always.
And that's what I think, that's where Nashville SC comes in. Is you use your connections and you use, your community outreach group, whoever that might be, and you make that known so that anybody that wants to watch the game doesn't have to do cartwheels and jump through hoops in order to find your game. This game of all games.
Yeah, they should. And that should be their number one priority. Well, let's say their second priority. Obviously, their number one priority is to get butts in the seats. But then making sure those that are within, a certain radius of the stadium is able to watch the game. I would assume that if you're talking within a 10-mile radius of the stadium, we're talking about some big, well-known bars. So they should have the ability to put the game on television.
And I'll give you a history lesson. Back in the early days of the Predators, they knew that it was going to take some time. Like the bar owners downtown in the area, they weren't just automatically going to put the Predators game on. That's what you want to get to. You want that bar owner, that manager to say, okay, Predators game tonight, let's make sure we have the Predators game on. It's much more common now, or much more common for a fan to ask it, but they had to make an effort. They were going around to the bars and saying, can you put our game on when the games are on, right? We want you to be in the habit of having our game on. What do we need to do? We'll give you tickets to a game even sometimes. I mean, you had to get them in the habit of doing it, because otherwise the channel was just going to be on ESPN, or the channel was going to be on the Braves, or whatever was happening.
The channel's going to be on the Titans game on Saturday.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Especially if some people have to go somewhere to watch the Titans game if they have DirecTV.
Yeah. Now,
probably a lot of people. Yeah.
A lot of people.
Does MLS? It's almost like, are they even going to go that extra mile? Because obviously this was a last minute thing for them, because they didn't know if they were going to be in this game, and it just so happens, we won. Now we advance. Now we play the Miami team with Messi. This was a last minute thing. It wasn't like they were able to sort of prepare and make sure everybody is able to watch it. This is one of those deals where it happened, and now we got to scramble to try to figure it out. But
that's your job.
I'm not blaming this on Nashville SC.
Mm-hmm.
They're worried about having butts in the seats, and I get that. You want people to be at your stadium. I get it.
I don't think that's a problem because you're number 2,000
the butts
in
will
the
be
queue.
in the seats.
Yeah, the butts will be in the
butts
seats.
are in the seats.
It's outside. How many soccer fans are within, sort of this radius? And if so, how many are not going to the game and are willing to, if they don't have Apple TV, go to a bar that does? There are going to be a lot of people that choose to go to bars because they don't have Apple TV.
I think the question should be, if you're Nashville SC, it shouldn't be how many soccer fans will we have in the city. It's how many soccer fans can we have in this city tomorrow.
Yeah, how can we
After
gain
this
some
game.
fans
Right.
for this game? Glenn from Greenbrier texts in and says, I'm going to charge admission to my house because I have Apple TV Plus and get my money back. That's
Yeah,
a great
you're right.
idea. He's going to have a watch party, and he'll make his money back for subscribing to Apple TV Plus.
I don't think that's illegal.
Innovation.
I don't think that's illegal. I don't think you can do that.
They're friends. D-Mase, they're all friends. They're just having
Yes,
a watch party
I know.
together.
But I don't think you can blast, hey, I'm charging to watch this game.
It's for the takeout food.
Yeah,
Come on now.
Just bring
Wink,
some money
wink.
for the food. That's what you got to say.
Yeah.
Bring some money for the food.
Raymond and Franklin Texan says, talk about soccer more. No. No.
Unfortunately, especially this time of year, you want to hear.
Hey, make me
football.
talk about it.
Yeah?
I'm not going to talk about anything. We talk about what people want to talk about. Make me talk about it.
I'll
about the
talk
hits.
about it.
Nick will talk about it.
Exactly.
Randy Texan says, Paul Kaharski and Joe yesterday morning were saying this is the most famous worldwide celebrity to ever appear in Nashville, including presidents, Elvis, Michael Jordan, playing at the Sound Stadium. They couldn't come up with one. I don't think that people understand how huge Messi is worldwide. Honestly, I don't even think that I can truly grasp how massive of a celebrity Messi is.
And the randomness or the perfect storm that it took for him to be playing a game against MLS, because MLS is not the English Premier League, right? This isn't the biggest league in the world. It is a little bit like the summer of '94 when Michael Jordan was playing for the Double-A Birmingham Barons, and he came through town. But that was Michael Jordan playing baseball.
Yeah. Now, Michael Jordan playing basketball would have been a different thing.
And he did, but it was a preseason game.
Yeah.
But I remember that's where I got to meet Michael Jordan because my coach, Eddie Fogler, was his assistant coach at North Carolina. So they came in and played a preseason game, and it sold out Memorial Gym for sure. But it was not anything like this, I would say.
But I think it's a different time, a different day, how you reach people. Like if Messi was in, Jordan era, because they didn't have social media, he wouldn't have been able to reach the crowds that he's able to reach now. Like if Michael was playing, just like LeBron, if LeBron was playing in Michael's days, he probably wouldn't have been able to reach people that he's able to reach now because of social media, which makes Messi even bigger because he's not a U.S. player. He's an international player. So they're not even counting the U.S. They're counting everybody else. The U.S. is just cherry on top. But if nobody in the U.S. would watch him, Messi still would be huge. He still would be almost damn near a global phenomenon. But it just so happens he's in our city come Saturday, and hopefully everybody gets a chance to watch him, whether it be in the stadium or on television.
Let me just say this. Lionel Messi in Nashville, this game will be on every television, regardless if you have connection to it or not. I promise you.
It has to be. That's what I'm saying.
You think
every
so?
bar,
100%.
every
Willy.
bar will more than just.
I want to be straight up
I
with
am
you.
skeptical. I'm very skeptical of that.
Every bar will more than one television.
Yeah,
has to have it on.
It's the.
They should, but I don't know if they will. I just don't think they make an effort.
I'll confidently say this, and this is argumentative to some people, but Lionel Messi is the greatest player to ever play the sport. He validated it with his World Cup win this past, I guess, December, because it was in Qatar. He's won everything, and that's what everybody was waiting on for him to win the World Cup.
But it's not that you're no argument for me on that.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that when it's not a situation where you go up to the bartender and say, "Can you put it on channel 5?" And there are some steps to get the game that the bar may or may not have to get the game on. That's the issue.
Well, the thing I would rebuttal to that would be, if people come into the bar that are Nashville SC fans and they're just packing from either Miami or Nashville in general, they're going to be asking the bartender, hey, why can't we get this game? And then the manager's going to come up and be like, hey, we need to get this game regardless of what we got to do.
Yeah, we got to pay that subscription right now.
Exactly.
All right, a little bit of bad news coming out of Titans practice. Traylon Burks got carted off the field.
He has to be.
We'll get to that coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
All the big plays.
Touchdown, Tennessee!
All the big stories.
I fully expected DeAndre Hopkins wanting a one-year deal.
All in one place. We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
Touchdown, Tennessee!
You're going to make a trade like this.
Does he want to retire a Tennessee Titan?
The door's on the board.
Such superstar players. The Game and the Game Nashville app.
When the game goes into overtime. But the game goes into overtime. The choice to enjoy is easy. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Pick up Bud Light at your local convenience store today. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hey, Tennessee, when you bet on Zen Sports, the new sportsbook in town, you get the best reward possible. Cold, hard cash. You bet with your own money, so why accept anything less from your rewards program? With Zen Sports, you earn cash on your bets, cash on your referrals bets, and a welcome bonus in, you guessed it, cash. So stop settling for Vegas rewards when we're in Tennessee. Cash in your old sportsbook for Zen Sports. Your wallet will thank you later. Zen Sports. Betting just got better. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 and up and in Tennessee to bet.
Hey, folks, Joe Rexrode here. You know the baseball season heading into the back stretch. It's time to get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That means up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. Just go to FanDuel.com/Joe102 to join today. Don't miss your chance. Get that no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 when you join FanDuel today. FanDuel, easy to use, a lot of fun. You get paid quickly. And, of course, if you're a Braves fan right now, you're excited about the potential of the postseason coming up. Again, FanDuel.com/Joe102 to sign up. FanDuel, official partner of Major League Baseball. You must be 21 years old, present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Refund issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets. Expire in 7 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Got a gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line, 800-889-9789.
You know it's going to happen, and when your car needs service or repair, remember Mitchell's Mr. Transmission on Gallatin Road, just north of Briley Parkway. Now here's Jim Mitchell.
Our fleet vehicle program is a great benefit to all the fleet companies in Nashville. We are able to get their vehicle back on the road a lot quicker than the downtime of most dealers and most general repair shops, simply because we have the transmissions available. We're able to put priority on their vehicles to get them back on the road quickly.
You know it's going to happen, and when your car needs service or repair, remember Mitchell's Mr. Transmission on Gallatin Road, just north of Briley Parkway.
Hey home buyers, TJ Anderson here. 6326 Patton Avenue is a new construction home in Nashville's Charlotte Park neighborhood. It offers 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, and nearly 2,500 square feet. Features include a 2-car garage, custom walk-in shower, and a private backyard that's fully fenced. Text the number 2 to 615-420-2377 for pricing and info. Want your home on the radio? Google TJ Anderson Homes and see why we are referred by clients so often. TJ Anderson Homes at Benchmark Realty. Office number 615-432-2919.
Want to weigh in on the conversation? It's a brain booster. Slide into our DMs. Or just text or call at 615-737-1025. Our phone line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase. Hey, we're presented by Zen Sports. Start earning cash rewards on your bets today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and in Tennessee to bet. Bad news coming out of Titans practice in Minnesota. Traylon Burks went up, caught a touchdown pass from Ryan Tannehill. He came crashing to the ground, was grabbing his left knee. Ryan Tannehill, DeAndre Hopkins, Derrick Henry all came running over to him. Rand Carthon came running over to him. Traylon Burks just carted off the field in Minnesota at practice, and Rand Carthon followed him into the facility. This is worst case scenario. After we were talking about this past season, the Titans getting injured yet again, the Titans being behind the rest of the league because they just couldn't catch a freaking break with the injuries. And now here we are again. Treylon Burks, who we were all encouraged to see that take that leap forward in year 2, going to be an integral part of the offense. You bring in DeAndre Hopkins to pair with Treylon Burks, and I don't know the severity of the injury. Gets carted off. Maybe it's not a good sign when you get carted off.
When you get
practice.
carted off, that usually does not indicate that this is good. Now, let's not jump to conclusions.
Yeah, I don't know what it means.
Let's not speculate, but
Burks.
man, when you see the cart, that's ominous.
I mean, and it's not something that you want to see from anyone.
Oh, man.
But much less, your first-round pick from this past season that you're counting on to be an integral part of the offense. It's
not good.
This is worst-case scenario for this team. Behind Tannehill getting hurt is Treylon Burks getting hurt.
Yeah, because and I do pray that it's nothing serious, nothing that's going to keep him out the whole season.
His sake, for the team's
miss
sake.
some, the remainder of preseason, but will not put him much out of the regular season. Let's hope that's worst case scenario. But if it is, more than that, then now you went from, somewhat of an explosive offense with Treylon and Chig, those two guys, because I think those are the two guys from a wide receiver. And Chris Moore, I think he has some speed to get down the field. But I think those two guys are your explosive players. Those two guys are sort of I call them your secondary shifters, where they see them out there and the secondary has to account for where both of those guys are at. Now you go from that to not explosive, not as explosive. You went to basically a bunch of guys that, they can catch the ball. Well, not a bunch, but 2 or 3 guys that can catch the ball. But what are they getting for you after that? Now the truly only explosive guy is Chikakonkwo in that pass-catching group. Other than Tajay Spears, but I don't count him because he's a running back. But now, and this is what we talked about with Hutt, the depth on this team. This is when, it was tested last year and they failed. It was tested 2 years ago, they passed. This year, it seems as we look at the roster, they can't afford injuries like this. They just can't.
And that's the frustrating thing is, look, it's football. I know. It's a tough game. Players get hurt. This isn't going to be the first time that a team loses a player before the season. Harold Landry last year with the Titans. But why is it always this team?
It's like they're snake bit.
It's just, he dinged up. It was reported that he was grabbing his left knees, dinged up his knee in practice. Unfortunately, it happens. Football injuries happen. It's not exclusive to the Titans. But here we are yet again, deja vu all over again, the injury bug biting at this team and hurting this team. It just, I don't know. It's luck. The Titans are just unlucky.
At that position, it just seems like. But you know what? This is an opportunity for another guy to step up. Another receiver on this roster to step up, whether it's Chris Moore stepping up. I know D-Hop is going to do his deal. Not worried about that. Guys like, Roberson, who has shown some ability to play this game. He's been a bright spot in camp. He needs to step forward now. Whether it's Jackson, who I like, he needs to step up. Nick Westbrook-Akine, he needs to really step up and race him in math. This is an opportunity. This is truly an opportunity. I know it very well. Believe me, I know this situation very well. This is an opportunity where these guys now, you got a chance to step up and solidify yourself as a more than a contributor to this team, as a starter. It's time for you to step up. Now that Treylon is down, hopefully he's not down for a considerable amount of time, but still, even if he's down until preseason is done, this is an opportunity for those guys that I named to step up and prove that they can be viable options on this team in the passing game.
Best case scenario, it's something that looked bad, but maybe isn't as bad. Like maybe I go back to the Joe Burrow video from practice where he limps off the field and it looked like maybe it was an Achilles, like something that could leave him out for the entirety of the season. And then it was reported it was a calf strain. He was going to be out for a few weeks. You don't want to see any player get injured, but I think that would probably be best case scenario, is an injury that's maybe a tweak that looks worse than it is. Worst case scenario, he's out for the season.
Yeah. It reminds me so much, just thinking about it and listening to it. And I'm reading, he's going for a deep pass and he just, I guess, comes down wrong or whatnot. It reminds me so much of Kevin Dyson running a deep route down the field, catch the ball, and somebody runs into him, our own player. And I know the player didn't mean to do it, but it happened. And he goes down. Now everybody's wondering, like, oh, hell, what did we do? Because this kid, Kevin, was coming on, and he was showing that he was going to be our number one guy. And all of a sudden, our passing game is been depleted of one, and then another guy goes down, two people. So what do we do? But, lucky at that time, we had guys that were able to step up. So that's what I'm saying. Now, it doesn't matter how much time he is out. Hopefully it's not a long time. Hopefully it's not as bad. But this is an opportunity for Chris Moore to step up and prove he can be a starter in this league. It's time for Racing McMath, Nick Westbrook-Akine. All these guys that we sort of talked about outside of the top three, they got to step up now.
You're right. And that's what's depressing to me, is when we were talking about, DeAndre Hopkins and Treylon Burks, how much better in so many forms, physically better, mentally better, more mature Treylon Burks was in year 2 and year 1, pairing him with DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, we could fantasize about what this passing game could be with those two. And then now you're going to rely on guys like Nick Westbrook-Akine or Racing McMath. And that's no disrespect to those two. But what those two are, what the guys lower on the depth chart are, they're not Treylon Burks. They don't present what Treylon Burks could potentially present. And that's the frustrating, saddening thing. And I'm frustrated for Treylon Burks. I mean, in year 1, you come in, you're not in shape, you really got to work hard, and then you start kind of finding your footing, and then you constantly get set back with injuries. You put in work in the offseason, you stay here, you work in the facility, you do whatever it takes to be better in year 2. And here you are set back yet again with another injury. I'm frustrated for this team, and I'm frustrated for him. I feel for him. But let's continue the conversation coming up next. Again, Treylon Burks carted off the field in practice, came down with a touchdown pass, came down grabbing his leg, limped off the field, carted off. Ran Carthon went into the facility with him. Where do the Titans go from here? What's the next step? If we're going to look at it in a worst-case scenario kind of scenario where Treylon Burks could be out for the season. We don't know that. It's early. We don't have a lot of information at all. But if we're going to look at worst-case scenario, where do the Titans go from here? We'll get into that coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
New home. New energy. Same Blue Raiders.
99 yards! Touchdown, Middle Tennessee!
Catch every game for MTSU on 93.3 Classic Hits. Coach Rick Stockstill is poised to lead his team to yet another bowl appearance.
We're really excited about this opportunity.
Your home for the Blue Raiders is 93.3 Classic Hits and the Classic Hits app.
Hey everybody, it's Joe Rex. I would invite you to please come out, join the Brentwood Fire and Police, Williamson County Sheriff's Office, Nolensville Fire, and Franklin Fire Departments for the 10th annual Williamson County Battle of the Badges Blood Drive today, going on until 6 p.m. at John P. Holt Brentwood Library on Concord Road, sponsored by BL Harbert International. Here with Nolensville Fire Chief David Windrow in honor of him and others. Tell us about the importance of this event.
Yeah, this is in honor of myself, retired Assistant Police Chief Tommy Walsh, and Fire Captain Scott Maynard from Franklin. We're all actually blood recipients, different ways. I'm a cancer patient. Tommy was shot in a bank robbery, and Scott was hurt in the line of duty in Franklin. So there's needs constantly. Every day, you probably know somebody or will know somebody that needs blood, whether it's a mom at St. Thomas and Delivery, a burn patient at Vanderbilt, heart surgery at St. Thomas West. Somebody needs blood all the time. and there's no substitute. I wouldn't be here except for donors like you that are out there listening that saved my life 10 years ago.
Absolutely, and we're here with Brandy Spradley also with the Red Cross, and we're trying to get people to come out, right? We need a lot more people to come out.
We certainly do. So we have room to take about 100 people today, and we need at least 100 more donors tomorrow. We have a blood drive goal today to collect 137 pints. Tomorrow we have to collect between 84 and 100. But in order to do that, we got to get the donors out here. We got lots of goodies and giveaways, so just come on out and grab something to eat and donate and help us save lives.
There you go. We'll see you out here at 8109 Concord Road, again, sponsored by BL Harbert International.
In St. Pete, Clearwater, Florida, fun in the sun goes way beyond the white sand beaches. Let's rock out at a waterfront concert at the Sound. Let's marvel. Let's pedal the 75-mile Pinellas Trail and stop at Florida's oldest microbrewery along the way. This fall, let's go for all the sun and none of the crowds. Let's shine. Plan your getaway at visitstpeteclearwater.com.
Lebanon now has a new Dunkin' store, and the game invites you to join us this Friday morning for their grand opening at 350 Highway 109 North in Lebanon. We will be there with great giveaways and free stuff. That's this Friday morning at the new Next Gen Dunkin' in Lebanon.
The path to the PGA Tour runs through Middle Tennessee. The Simmons Bank Open returns September 14th through 17th as part of the Korn Ferry Tour Finals. Catch all the exciting golf action and still not miss a minute of your favorite team's game in the Arctic Tailgate Village. Swing by the Sand Trap and take your shot at the famous floating Guitar Island Green while grabbing a bite from Hattie B's, Hogwood Barbecue, Dream Burger, and wash it down with a cold fashion from Nelson's Greenbrier. Purchase your tickets now at SimmonsBankOpen.com.
Real estate investors, get ready for an incredible opportunity. D&M Development is thrilled to announce the Phase 1 presale of 16 non-owner-occupied short-term rentals in Nashville's exclusive resort-style community, the New Cumberland. Nestled between Germantown and East Nashville, this exceptional location offers stunning views of the city and the Cumberland River. Each unit features spacious kitchen, 4 bedrooms, and 4 baths, providing the ultimate luxury experience for your guests. Resort-style pools and a wide range of amenities. Don't miss out on this exclusive investment chance. Visit thenewcumberland.com for more information and secure your spot in this extraordinary community.
Nashville Sounds Baseball lives on 94.9 The Fan. Catch every pitch.
Swing and a miss, strike 3.
Every hit.
That's a base hit.
Every run.
Looking up, it's gone.
On your home for Sounds Baseball. 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
What's up, Nashville? This is Stephen A. Smith. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, a little bit of breaking news coming out from Titans practice in Minnesota. Traylon Burks carted off the field. Now, Jared Stillman was at practice. He saw it happen, and he joins us now. Jared, what'd you see?
So, practice is still going on right now, but it's almost like what was a good practice for the Titans, at least where I was standing on the defensive side, and TD was on the offensive side, said that it looked pretty good. It's like a giant cloud is now over the Titans. So what happened was, again, I was on the defensive side, but it's weird here at this Vikings facility where we could see both fields from the defensive side. And we see Burks get loose. And it was man-to-man coverage. He blows right by the DB, makes a beautiful catch, comes down, and immediately starts limping, fires the football down in disgust. And they had to help him up off the field onto the cart. I ran down to the area where the cart was as he was being carted off, and Henry, Tannehill, Hopkins, and Rand Carthon were all standing by the cart as it went inside, and then Rand later followed into the facility and then came back out.
So any indication of how he was acting or reacting of what it could possibly be?
So this is going to sound kind of crazy, but I took a workout class here in town this morning. And one of the guys that I took it with actually was at practice. He said it looked like a calf or maybe an Achilles, but then TD said that he saw a pad underneath the knee. So I think the speculation right now might be knee, but I wouldn't rule out. It was a non-contact injury, which is the scariest of all kind of training camp injuries, but I would not rule out the calf or the Achilles. And because of what we saw with Joe Burrow, I think, best case scenario would be hoping that it's the calf.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier, and that's why I don't love that it's calf or Achilles, because calf could be okay. Maybe a few weeks. Achilles is you're out for the season, and you're getting surgery.
I mean, I just will tell you the level of disgust that I saw with Burks when he fired the football down. Now, look, we've seen guys get carted off. I think C.J. Gardner-Johnson got carted off a couple weeks ago. Then it came back after some tests that he was okay. Again, we saw Joe Burrow get carted off, and it came back that he was okay with the calf injury. But to me, it was kind of a showstopper at practice as far as the momentum for the Titans. And I feel like everybody who either was on the Titans or works for the Titans or covers the Titans, I think there was a little bit of okay, now everything's just changed a little bit. At least that initial feeling.
Now, Jared, what in your mind, what do you think this can potentially mean if indeed, worst case scenario, Traylon is out for a considerable amount of time this season? What does that mean for the passing game?
Well, they didn't stop practice after Burks got carted off, and it was Westbrook-Akina and Chris Moore that were out there kind of in that outside receiver position. So I think it's as simple, unfortunately, as just move on down the depth chart. And we saw last year, and we saw really 2 years ago, when the starting receivers get hurt and it's Nick Westbrook-Akina out there, we know what that looks like. And I don't think that there's any way to outmaneuver that or outcoach that. So I guess, long story short, it probably means a lot of DeAndre Hopkins, a lot of Chigakonkwo, and hopefully a lot of Tajay Spears, unless we want to bank on Nick Westbrook-Akina and Chris Moore being able to take the piece of pie that we thought was going to be given to Traylon Burks.
You're right. One of those guys are going to have to step up if indeed Traylon is out for a considerable amount of time. And the guy that I think needs to step up is Chris Moore. He's looked good in camp, but now that Traylon's down, we don't know for how long, then he needs to be that guy along with D-Hop that sort of continues to, allow this offense from a passing standpoint to flourish. Now, how were they looking prior to the injury?
So I was on the defensive field. Now, TD says that in the 7-on-7s, Malik Willis was on fire. And it did sound, we saw plays. We could see both fields, but we were focused on defense. And it did seem like the Titans had a couple where Kyrus Jackson got away from coverage. Colton Dowell had a big gain in the 7-on-7s offensively. I thought defensively, the Titans just kicked the Vikings' butt. I mean, there were run plays where Rashad Weaver and Danico Autry were 3, 4, 1.7 yards in the backfield. They had an interception, 7-on-7 with the ones where Roger McCreary batted a ball into the air that was intercepted by Azeez Al-Shaair. I think the Titans' defensive line was pushing the Vikings' offensive line back. I think that there were potential sacks that could have been called on Kirk Cousins in the 11-on-11. And Justin Jefferson, and we were watching him when we came over for the one-on-ones, and Justin Jefferson looked the part of star. I wouldn't have even known that he was out there today in what we saw of 11-on-11 before the Traylon Burks injury.
Just thinking about this, guys, I don't know if you guys would disagree, but what comes to mind for me, we had a discussion earlier in the show about, would you look to trade for an offensive? Where do you find an offensive lineman if at the end of camp, for example, you don't like what you have there? I'm reminded of they already are down a couple draft picks from this coming draft. They traded one to move up for Levis. They had traded a couple more when Robinson was still the GM. They don't have a lot to trade. And I don't know that I would be looking to trade future draft picks at this point. You're in kind of a dilemma. And who would you trade for? I think this group has to do it for a while. Maybe at the trade deadline, you see where you are and you see what's out there. But I just don't think you can replace Traylon Burks. It's got to come from within. Do you guys agree?
Yeah, I mean, I've said, and let me know, Jared, if you feel this way. We know what we have in Nick Westbrook-Akina. He's at best a 3. We know what we have in Kyle Phillips. He's your slot guy. He's not going to be on the outside. The one guy that we really don't know is Chris Moore because he's coming from another team, and he wasn't on the field a lot until injuries last year with Houston Texans. So, to me, that's one guy that needs to step up big if Traylon Burks is out for any considerable amount of time.
I mean, I think Willy's spot on. I don't think at this point that trading is an option. And maybe later in the year when a team knows they're out of it or there's a disgruntled wide receiver somewhere else who ends up getting released that, Rand Carthon has history with, or Mike Vrabel knows, or, something like that in November or December, which always happens, every now and then. We saw, for instance, Odell Beckham get released in the middle of the season and somebody picked him up. But I think right now, everybody, for the most part, they've got their team. They're ready to hit the field. They're going to try to go out there and win with the guys they have. I don't think anybody's looking to offload a starting wide receiver. And then the other point, too, to Willy's point, is I don't think the Titans are in a position to where they can deal from the future draft capital that they have, when we know that this was kind of a go-for-it year and that perhaps a rebuild might be coming after this season with Tannehill and Henry and Byard and Hopkins. And so I don't think that would be very wise either. I think it's as simple as when Derrick Henry got hurt, well, go find somebody, but they're gonna have to do it from within. And I think if Burks is out for an extended period of time, that's probably what we're looking at. Similar to what happened last year with Harold Landry. He went down and they signed a Mario Edwards Jr., but it was kind of like they had to make do with what they had.
And, Jared, what's troubling, too, on top of this is Burks already had multiple issues last year. So now you're building a reputation of can't stay on the field. And that's unfortunate because we were seeing so much progress.
I think the thing with me with Burks was when I saw it happen, and I think there was kind of a sentiment that a lot of people talked about after the injury occurred. But when I saw it happen, I immediately thought of, this kid's had such a great offseason. He said all the right things. He's done all the right things. He's looked great in training camp. Had a great catch by smoking a DB and a one-up. They tried to put him in man coverage, and he goes right by him for a huge gain. And then this happens. It wasn't like he didn't put in the effort. It wasn't like he showed up out of shape. It wasn't like, he wasn't working in the weight room. And I know injuries happen, and they can happen to anybody, and some guys are injury prone for whatever reason that might be. But I just hated it for the player to see him down. And again, I guess, best case scenario, I'm hoping that it's not bad, but it didn't look like it was going to be a minor injury.
Yeah, that was what I was saying the last segment. What you don't want to see any player go down with an injury, but especially a player that we all felt like had so much to prove and was doing the right things to be able to prove it. So it's so frustrating for the team, and it's frustrating for Treylon Burks himself. Jared Stillman is with us. Jared, what kind of implications does this have for Ryan Tannehill? Because we've seen two different Tannehills with pass-catching weapons and without.
So I think something that's pretty unpopular decision that Mike Vrabel made, he spoke to the media before practice today, which is a very Belichick-type thing. Tannehill is going to speak afterwards. And this is where it's unfortunate that Vrabel decided to speak before, because a lot of the questions are going to be about Burks. And if Vrabel's not there to answer the questions, it will be Tannehill who's asked those questions. I think that we've seen this time and time again with Tannehill. When Tannehill had receivers, when Tannehill had his running back, when Tannehill had an offensive coordinator, Tannehill was a successful quarterback. When they took away the coordinator and then the receivers got hurt and then the line stunk, Tannehill did his best to get the Titans to 7 wins last year, but he got hurt behind that line. And we've seen times in the past where he's out there in an NFL game trying to throw to Racey McMath and Anthony Ferkser, and we know he's a lot better when he's throwing the ball to A.J. Brown. Treylon Burks last year, midway through the season, I thought he really came on that Cincinnati game and the Packer game, and he had that big touchdown grab against the Eagles before he got knocked out of the game, and I thought he was really coming along, and as soon as he went out, the passing game went back to the substandard condition that it had been in. So I think as much as it hurts the team, it hurts Tannehill too.
Yeah.
Do you think this is an explosive offense without Treylon Burks, or can they be an explosive offense without Treylon Burks out there? Obviously, they still got Chig and D-Hop, but D-Hop is not a down-the-field guy, and Chig is still finding his way in the NFL.
So I think that's the tough part about me focusing on defense today and instead of watching offense, because I didn't see how they handled the Vikings front seven and the pass rush. I do believe that the Titans have the pieces on offense at the skill positions to be really good. And we're assuming that Burks is going to be healthy, which may be a tall assumption to make right now. But I do think that they have that potential, especially the yards per play between him and Okonkwo last year. with DeAndre Hopkins' ability to be consistent in the passing game. And if Derrick Henry can get some blocking, I still think he can bust off some of those big runs. Without Burks, because I always looked at Burks as the big play, take the top off the defense, DeAndre Hopkins more as the chain mover, contested catch guy. Without Burks, I don't know who that's going to be on this team. I don't know who's going to run down the field and take the top off the defense, just like on the play in which Burks got hurt, where there was man coverage, guys in the box because of Derrick Henry, and he blows right by the DB for the big gain. I don't know who that's going to be. They don't have anybody, D-Mase, with that ability outside of him.
It's depressing. It's really depressing.
Yes.
Jared, appreciate for joining us to break it all down. We'll be listening at 2 o'clock.
Sounds good.
Yep.
Awesome. Thanks, Jared. Jared Stillman. I know he'll have more insight at 2 o'clock, but it's just
Bummer.
It's a bummer. I don't know what else to say other than this sucks.
Yeah, if you go on Twitter or the X, as they call it now, you can see video of Traylon running a deep post, making a really good catch.
Yeah, you can see the
high
video.
point, and then he just goes down, and the way he looked, it doesn't look good. It really doesn't look good. He didn't want to put any pressure on that left leg at all. So whether it's a knee, an Achilles, or a quad, a calf muscle, whatever it is, it hurt him to the point where he didn't want to put any weight on that left side. So hopefully it's not as bad, and that he will be able to come back sooner rather than later.
We'll continue the conversation coming up next, plus your initial reaction to Traylon Burks getting carted off the field in practice today in Minnesota. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase. Join 102.5 and 106.3 The Game at Door Jam this Saturday, celebrating Vanderbilt sports at the David Williams Recreation Center. The fun kicks off at 2 p.m. and will include an autograph session, photo booths, and lawn games. So head out there to support Vanderbilt athletics as fall sports return in a few weeks. 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
It's going down. It's going down. It's going down.
They fight.
Jared, you're how do you know, Joe? How do you know?
And fight.
And because of that,
how do you know that, though? How do you know that?
But that's okay. It's Jared and Joe. Every Wednesday at 5 p.m., Jared Stillman and Joe Rexroad debate the big topics in sports. Jared versus Joe. Presented by Pella Windows and Doors and Parman Tractor and Equipment on Stillman and Company. Wednesdays at 5 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Genesis Diamond's most extreme value on diamonds is coming to an end. You have until Sunday at 5 p.m. to get the price of a lifetime on a certified GIA diamond ring.
Response has been incredible. People have driven for hours to buy like a dealer buys. All GIA certified diamond rings are on sale. A full 20% discount off Genesis' amazing everyday value price.
We're talking values you never thought possible. From a half carat to 20 carat diamonds, all hand-picked for maximum brilliance and all graded by the most prestigious gem lab in the world.
Don't be surprised to see jewelry store owners and diamond dealers shopping alongside you.
Genesis has the largest GIA diamond selection you've ever seen. Rounds, ovals, radiance, cushion cuts, pear shapes, emerald cuts, princess cuts.
And now through Sunday, you can take advantage of this rare buying opportunity. Limit one per customer, please.
Get the Genesis no middleman direct importer price minus an extra 20% on all GIA diamond engagement rings. Now through Sunday only at Genesis Diamonds.
Green Hills and Cool Springs.
See store for details.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willy Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Hey everybody, Joe Rexroad here, coming to you from the John P. Holt Brentwood Library, 8109 Concord Road. We're here. I'm out here with Perry Dornbush and Matt Saggio at a great event. We would love to see you out here. It is the 10th annual Williamson County Battle of the Badges Blood Drive today, going on until 6 p.m. Join the Brentwood Fire and Police, the Williamson County Sheriff's Office, Nolensville Fire, and Franklin Fire Departments for this event, sponsored by B.L. Harbert International. You know, every 2 seconds there's someone in need of blood or platelets. And this year's blood drive, 10th annual blood drive, is in honor of Nolensville Fire Chief David Windrow, my fire chief, Franklin Fire Captain Scott Maynard, and retired Brentwood Assistant Police Chief Tommy Walsh. The drive runs through tomorrow, Thursday, August 17th, from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Presenting donors are eligible for a drawing for door prizes. Again, come out and support this important event. The 10th annual Williamson County Battle of the Badges Blood Drive today till 6 p.m., then tomorrow 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the John P. Holt Brentwood Library at 8109 Concord Road, sponsored by B.L. Harbert International.
Hey, it's Jared. Want to tell you about Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Hiller is keeping you chilling all summer with special deals to keep you relaxed and happy this summer. Tackle those necessary home system replacements this month to take advantage of these special deals. When you purchase a select new HVAC system, you'll get 2 Yeti Trailhead camping chairs, a Yeti Panga 28L waterproof backpack, a Yeti Tundra 75, and 2 Yeti tumblers for free. And get special freebies on Yeti products with every new whole home generator or tankless water heater purchase. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Hey y'all, it's Courtney with Parman Tractor and Equipment. Warmer months have you working overtime? Be sure to visit Parman Tractor and Equipment for all your New Holland tractor and bush hog needs. Swing by our store at 3570 Dickerson Pike in North Nashville or give our sales team a call. We're now offering 0% financing for 72 months on select New Holland tractors. Get the brands you trust from a local dealer like Parman, always ensuring totally outrageous customer service. Visit ParmanTractor.com for the best deals on equipment, New Holland tractor, bush hog, and more.
Sometimes it's good to be loud.
This is the NFL.
Especially when you're Jared Stillman.
That's where we are.
He's not afraid to say what's on his mind each and every day.
That was embarrassing. I don't care if you're a rookie. That was embarrassing.
Stillman and Company. Weekdays at 2 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Having some fun in the midday.
Okay, that's really fun.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase.
It's a good source of energy because it's live.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Join 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and come out to the 10th annual Williamson County Battle of the Badges Blood Drive today. Every 2 seconds, someone is in need of blood. So stop by the Brentwood Library at 8109 Concord Road from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Sponsored by B.L. Harbert International. And hey, join 102.5 The Game and Robbie on Rex Road, broadcasting from 6 to 9 a.m. for 2 Dunkin' grand openings here in Middle Tennessee. Friday, they'll be out at 350 Highway 109 South in Lebanon. And next Monday, they'll be out at 206 Indian Lake Boulevard in Hendersonville. So come out for coffee, food, and great opportunities to win prizes. Breaking news coming out of practice, Traylon Burks carted off the field in practice. He came down with a touchdown pass, got some separation, came up grabbing that left knee, was wobbling. And Jared Stillman, who joined us, he was there out at practice. He said that when Traylon Burks stood up, he just slammed the ball down in frustration. I think y'all kind of know that feeling when you get hurt and you just anger, frustration. He was carted off, ran Carthon, followed behind him in the cart. But let's get some of your thoughts on that, your initial reaction to Traylon Burks being carted off the field in practice. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com. Jeff in Kingston Springs says, how hard is it to wait until we hear more about the injury before we start speculating on all the worst-case scenarios?
Well, that's what we do.
That's life. That's life. Radio.
Exactly. It's radio. You got to talk about worst case and best case scenario. Best case scenario is that he will not play the remainder. They'll hold him out of preseason, and he'll be ready for the opening game against the New Orleans Saints. Worst case scenario is, unfortunately, he's out longer, which will affect their offense from a passing standpoint. So we got to talk about that. We can't.
It's all how you're wired. I understand the question by Jeff. Jeff has been a listener for a long time. It's funny, like some of us, you want to dread it, you want to paint the worst case, and then you'll be excited when it's not the worst case. And other people's like, no, just think positive. Think positive. We don't know yet. You know, there's different ways that we handle something like this,
especially when it comes to.
We can only hope that Traylon was over careful or is worried about it too much. We just have to hope for the best.
I go back
It
to
just
the
didn't
Joe
look good.
Burrow injury, which gives me at least
Yeah.
a little bit of hope. It looked really bad, and it turned out to be something that's only going to keep him on the sideline for a couple of weeks. But, yeah, to your point, Willie, it didn't look good. It did not look good. Ben from Nashville texts in, says, curious if you think that we are right back to where we were prior to the Hopkins signing. I think because DeAndre is a separation expert, and we need that more in a wide receiver given the offensive line struggles in getting the ball out more. But then again, we don't have too much of a deep threat to open things up. Has me thinking about available wide receivers. D-Mase, what do you think about that?
I do believe now, depending on what Chris Moore is able to do, I think a lot of this does hinge on, is he able to, and I'm not sitting here and saying, oh, he needs to be Treylon Burks or what Treylon Burks could potentially be. No, but he has to give this offense the ability to get downfield. They've liked what they've seen from him in camp. I think Vrabel even talked about him being explosive, him being fast. So they're going to try to get the ball down the field with him. And they're going to give other guys opportunities. They just are. They have to. But it does put this offense back at square one. From a passing standpoint, I think it does, because if we were going into the beginning of camp with just D-Hop and the rest of those receivers, what would we be saying? We need somebody that could stretch the field. This offense is not going to be able to do anything. So what's the difference? There's no difference. Treylon's not there, so that's the thought. Who can be that down the field guy who can stretch the defense? If we don't find a guy that can stretch the defense and put pressure on the defense, then yes, we're back at square one, because regardless of what D-Hop has done, in the past, he's not the same guy. Arizona he's more of a move to change guy, which tells me he's without Treylon, he's going to average around 10 yards a catch, somewhere around there. And that's not going to help this offense. They need explosive plays, which means if indeed Treylon Burks is out for any considerable amount of time during the season, they're going to have to lean on not just D-Hop. They have to lean on Chris Moore and Chikakonkwo.
The answer a little bit is probably you have to get a little lucky to find a guy that just fits. And they haven't really found that guy in a long time. Maybe Kyle Phillips in his own way. But like you said, that specific trait of getting down the field, those guys are really hard to find in general. So it might have to be a guy that only can run deep routes and take the top off the defense. You're not going to find a guy that's as dynamic, but maybe a guy that allows the other guys to do their thing, allows D-Hop to be effective, takes a little pressure off of him. That's what you have to hope for. You're scouring the waiver wire. Stranger things have happened. Sometimes you can do that. And again, let's wait and see what the news is on Burks before we put the cart before the horse, even though as hard as that is to do.
Hoping for the best diagnosis for Treylon Burks, sending him our best. That's going to do it for us today. Stillman and Company is up next.
Be love and love on your people. Peace.
It is red hot in Music City.
On